the school beauty's personal bodyguard. This video is purely for entertainment and does not infringe on copyrights or laws. The rights to the novel and image belong to the original author. We do not claim ownership. Don't like waiting and want to listen to this fanfic in full now? Subscribe to our Patreon, where you'll find the best fanfics. Chapter 626 in Xuanyuan's visit. So Xuanyuan thought, if he rashly proposed to Chu Mengyao with flowers, Chu Mengyao might really refuse outright, and then the relationship between them would become strained, and it would not look good to pursue her in the future. Thinking of this, Xuanyuan secretly said, "Then what do you think I should do, brethren? How about you pretend to be drunk and say something?" Su Taizao said with an idea. "When the time comes, you can drink some wine and confess to Chu Mengyao. If Chu Mengyao likes you, she will naturally appear very shy, and even want to make sure whether you are talking nonsense after drinking or she really thinks so. Of course, if Chu Mengyao doesn't want you to confess, you can also say that it was a drunken slip of the tongue. She won't care about you, right? It won't be awkward when you meet in the future." "Taizao, your idea is really good, but you have to help me a little tomorrow." And Xuanyuan nodded. "Then shall we go to Chu Mengyao's house now?" "Well, brethren, don't worry, I will help you create a suitable opportunity tomorrow, and you can just confess directly then." Su Taizao patted his chest and promised. Lin Yi didn't expect Xuanyuan and Su Taizao to come to his house at this time. Looking at the two people outside the villa, Lin Yi frowned. "Brethren, what's the matter with you coming here at this time?" Xiaoshu is feeling a little unwell and is resting upstairs. Lin Yi didn't know whether Xuanyuan came to see Chu Mengyao or to see himself, so he asked. "Haha, we are here to see Xiaoshu. Since she is sick, we, as the eldest brother, have to go and see her." And Xuanyuan smiled and said, "Taizao, go buy some fruit." "Okay, brethren." Su Taizao picked up the car keys and drove away, while Xuanyuan was still standing at the door of the villa. "Then wait a minute, I'll go ask Yaoiao and Xiaoshu." Lin Yi was just being polite to Xuanyuan, wanting to use him to deal with Zhong Pinliang, so there was no need to care too much about him and just left him at the door. When Lin Yi returned to the villa, Chu Mengyao was already in the living room. Apparently, she had heard the doorbell ring, and upon seeing Lin Yi enter, she asked, "Lin Yi, who's here? Is it Uncle Fu?" "No, it's Xuanyuan and Su Taizao. I don't know what they're doing," Lin Yi said, gesturing toward the door behind him. "Brother Xuanyuan? Why is he here again?" Chu Mengyao's tone, while polite, was clearly cold and distant, clearly displeased with Xuanyuan's presence. "How should I know? They said they were looking for Xiaoshu." Lin Yi shrugged. "Sister Yaoiao, let them in. My brother's coming back tomorrow, so maybe they're here for this." Chen Yushu had also come downstairs. She was behind Chu Mengyao, now standing at the stairs, saying, "I thought it was Uncle Fu bringing food. I'm so hungry. I'm craving a big meal." "Hungry? You're hungry again? Craving a big meal?" Lin Yi was speechless. He'd just vomited, and already hungry again? Still eating a lot? Who knows what's wrong with Chen Yushu? Has she forgotten the pain after the wound healed? Yeah, I feel like my stomach is empty, it's even growling." Chen Yushu touched her deflated stomach and complained, "I vomited too much before. It would be better if I vomited less. Why don't you eat what you vomited back?" Chu Mengyao glared at Chen Yushu, finding the topic disgusting. "Oh, that's enough for the two of us," Chen Yushu nodded. Chu Mengyao was about to vomit. She was quite hungry, but now her appetite is gone. Lin Yi went to open the door, and Xuanyuan walked in with a smile on his face. Seeing Chu Mengyao, he didn't show any excessive enthusiasm, but nodded at her. "Yaoiao, I heard Xiaoshu is sick." "I'm not sick. Sister Yaoiao is just trying to harm her," Chen Yushu began, but was interrupted by Chu Mengyao. "She just has a stomach flu. It's nothing. She'll be fine after she vomits." How could Chu Mengyao let Chen Yushu talk nonsense? "Oh, is that so?" And Xuanyuan heard Chu Mengyao's tone and seemed unwilling to talk about this matter, so he didn't say anything else. "Xiaoshu, Brother Dian will be back tomorrow, and Taizao and I will hold a banquet to welcome him. You should come too. Your brother hasn't seen you for a long time." "Right, okay," Chen Yushu agreed without thinking too much. After all, she hadn't seen her brother for a long time, and there was no reason not to go. Chu Mengyao was a little annoyed. Why did Chen Yushu agree to it like that? If she went, could she not go with her? Was Jianwen holding a banquet to invite Chen Yushan or himself? I'm afraid only Jianwen himself knew. Yao, then you will go too, Jianwen asked with a smile. Lin Yi, are you free tomorrow night? Chu Mengyao did not answer Jianwen's words, but turned to Lin Yi and asked, you accompany us? Okay, Lin Yi replied lightly. Although Jianwen was a little unhappy about Lin Yi going with him, he thought it was good that Chu Mengyao was able to go, and he couldn't make things more complicated. What if he didn't let Lin Yi go, and Chu Mengyao got angry and didn't go anymore? That would be no fun. So he laughed and said, haha, Yao, even if you didn't tell me, I would have invited brother Lin Yi too. We have a very good personal relationship, that's all. Anything else? Chu Mengyao glanced at Jianwen and asked. This, Jianwen knew that Chu Mengyao was going to order him to leave, but he felt a little unwilling and wanted to stay a little longer. An idea suddenly struck him, let's wait for Taizao. He's gone to buy some fruit. Xiaoshu is sick, and his brothers, we can't come empty-handed, right? Oh, then let him buy more. I'm starving, Chen Yushu ordered when she heard that Su Taizao had gone out to buy things. Okay, I'll call him right away, Jianwen's eyes suddenly lit up. He finally had a reason to stay a little longer. Jianwen was afraid that Chu Mengyao would interfere, so he quickly took out his phone and dialed Su Taizao's number. Taizao, Xiaoshu is hungry, buy some more fruits, buy some dinner, go to a few more places, buy more things, don't buy less, Jianwen's hint was already very obvious. I believe that as long as Su Taizao is not a big fool, he will definitely understand what he means. He wants him to stay outside for a while and not come back immediately. Su Taizao is not stupid either. When he heard what Jianwen said, he understood what he meant. He parked the car directly on the side of the road and said, Brethren, I'm really sorry, there is a little traffic jam on the road, don't worry. Chapter 627 Chu Pengzhan's phone call. Don't worry, don't worry. You can't be anxious even if there's a traffic jam, right? Safety first, Jianwen smiled slightly, thinking that Su Taizao had good cooperation. Chu Mengyao glared at Chen Yushu in annoyance, secretly blaming her for being nosy. If she wanted to eat, why didn't she ask Lin Yi to cook? What did she ask Su Taizao to buy? Now, this guy is staying here and won't leave. Isn't he annoying? Chen Yushu also knew that she was in trouble, and she pouted, but she had a way. Looking at the time, Jianwen only had 7 minutes left to chat with Sister Yao. Jianwen boasted in front of Chu Mengyao in an elegant manner. Chu Mengyao talked to him in a random manner. Lin Yi was naturally too lazy to stay here, so he went back to his room directly. In the villa, Jianwen couldn't do any tricks, and Lin Yi didn't need to stare at him too much. Oh, it's cartoon time. Today is Saturday, and there's a Pleasant Goat and Big Wolf movie. Chen Yushu jumped up from the sofa, turned on the TV, and used the remote control to change a channel. Sure enough, the familiar music of Pleasant Goat and Big Wolf came from the TV. Jianwen was already accustomed to Chen Yushu's crazy personality. He thought that although Chen Yushu was beautiful, who could resist such a personality? Fortunately, he liked Chu Mengyao, otherwise, if he was with a girl like Chen Yushu, his life would be ruined. Ignoring Chen Yushu and watching cartoons, Jianwen continued to talk to Chu Mengyao. Hey, stop talking, I can't hear you clearly. Chen Yushu waved her hand at Jianwen impatiently. Why are you so rude? Others are watching TV, Jianwen was about to explode. What did his talk have to do with her? But he couldn't afford to offend Chen Yushu, so he didn't dare to refute. First, Chen Yushu is from the Chen family, a noble family. Who could possibly mess with her? Even if he had the Firewolf Gang backing him up, he couldn't represent the Firewolf Gang, nor did he have the guts to go against the Chen family. Second, even if the Firewolf Gang fully supported him, Chen Yushu was Chu Mengyao's best friend. If he messed with her, he wouldn't be able to pursue Chu Mengyao anymore. He would definitely face many obstacles. Yao, shall we go over there and talk? Jianwen held his breath, still smiling, and pointed in the direction of the restaurant. I want to watch cartoons too. I haven't seen this episode either. Chu Mengyao pointed at the TV and said, watch it with us, huh? Jianwen almost jumped up. How old am I, and I'm still watching cartoons? If this gets out, won't people laugh at me? But he was also conflicted. This was the first time Chu Mengyao had invited him to do something together. Watching TV together was like watching a movie, right? Just think of it as Chu Mengyao asking him to go to the movies. Thinking of this, and Xuanyuan felt balanced. Okay, let's watch it together. Naturally, you can't talk while watching cartoons. And Xuanyuan had never watched the series of this cartoon before. He couldn't concentrate on it when he suddenly watched it. He could only sit there with his head held high. He felt that time was too unbearable. The same was true for Su Ao. Why hasn't he come back yet? Come back quickly, and he can get out of this predicament. What a mistake. If he had known that Chen Yushu wanted to watch cartoons, why would he stay here? It would be better to leave. Unable to bear it any longer, and Xuanyuan got up and went outside to call Su Ao. Where are you? Why don't you come back? Buy some food, buy for a year. Ah. Brethren, didn't you tell me to go back slowly? Su Ao was parking his car on the side of the road, smoking a cigarette leisurely and looking at the night view. He was startled by Xuanyuan's yell. Okay, come back quickly. Hurry up, and Xuanyuan said a little depressed. See, Sister Yao, I'm awesome, right? Chen Yushu said with a hint of pride. Haha, you're quite clever, or else I'd be pissed off. Chu Mengyao felt that her best friend wasn't stupid at all, but rather quite clever. It was just her way of expressing herself that was a little peculiar. Soon, Su Ao returned, carrying a pile of fruit in a bento. Chen Yushu invited Xuanyuan to join her while they watched TV and ate, but Xuanyuan shamelessly declined. He simply couldn't stand it anymore. If he couldn't talk to Chu Mengyao, what was the point of staying here? Go call Lin Yi and have him join us for dinner. After Xuanyuan and Su Ao left, Chu Mengyao opened the bento Su Ao had bought and placed it on the coffee table. Su Ao had bought 5 bento boxes, all of which were high quality and likely not cheap. This obviously included a portion for him and Xuanyuan, though they wouldn't be able to finish them all. Oh, Chen Yushu drooled at the delicious bento boxes on the coffee table. She didn't want to stand up, eager to dig in immediately. Seeing Chen Yushu's lack of response, Chu Mengyao snorted, feeling somewhat helpless. She stood up and called Lin Yi, knocking twice on the door. Lin Yi, come out for dinner. Chu Mengyao didn't know why she had to call Lin Yi. Perhaps it was because he cooked for her and Xiaoshu every day, so she couldn't not call him when she was eating. That would be so ungrateful. Are they gone? Lin Yi had just been lying in bed texting Tang Yun, telling her that he had contacted her Yudan and that medicine would be delivered soon, and asking her not to worry about Tang Zhichen's injury. They're gone. Su Tai bought a lunchbox a while ago. Do you want some? Chu Mengyao asked, pointing to the lunchbox on the coffee table. Let's eat. It's good that we don't have to prepare dinner tonight. Lin Yi followed Chu Mengyao out. Uncle Fu usually didn't bring food on Saturdays, so most of the time it was Lin Yi who made the arrangements. By the time Lin Yi sat down on the sofa, Chen Yushu had almost finished a box of food and showed no sign of stopping. Eat less, or you might die of overeating, Lin Yi warned. No more eating. Chu Mengyao was afraid that something might happen to Chen Yushu again, so she put away the remaining 2 lunchboxes, fearing that she would eat them together. Oh, okay, Chen Yushu felt a little aggrieved, but she didn't dare to disobey, and was afraid that she would die of overeating again. After dinner, Lin Yi cleaned up the lunchboxes and put the remaining 2 lunchboxes in the refrigerator. They could be heated up and used as breakfast tomorrow morning. After finishing his work, he unexpectedly received a call from Chu Pengzhan. Uncle Chu, Lin Yi answered the phone. What's the matter? Well, there are 2 things, Chu Pengzhan said. Yao is not with you, right? Is it convenient to talk? Lin Yi was slightly stunned. Did he need to hide this matter from Chu Mengyao and the others? Chapter 628 I have Brother Arrow. Lin Yi glanced at Chu Mengyao and Chen Yushu, who were absorbed in watching cartoons in the living room not far away, and lowered his voice to say, they're watching cartoons in the living room. Uncle Chu, please tell me if you have anything to say. Okay, the first thing is about you. Chu Pengzhan didn't mince words and said directly, Li Shiho came to me today and asked me about your injuries and your background. I didn't tell him, but I don't know if he guessed something from my vague words. I don't think Zhao Kaibing will let it go this time. He definitely wants to deal with you. You have to be prepared. Ask about me. Lin Yi smiled slightly. No problem. Let them ask. If they want to deal with me, they can come to me. Although Lin Yi was a little wary of the people around Zhao Kaibing, he was definitely not afraid. Although he was seriously injured in this fight, he had the jade pendant for cultivation. Lin Yi didn't believe that Uncle Zhu had a similar magic weapon. Even if he consumed a large amount of natural treasures, according to what old Jiao said, he wouldn't be able to recover for at least a year or two. So Lin Yi is not afraid of Zhao Kaibing's revenge at all. You can send as many masters as you want. After I fight you and both of us are injured, I will run away. I will recover the next day and continue to fight with the masters around you. I don't believe that the masters around you are endless. By then, all your masters will be lying in bed. Let's see if you can still be happy. With a jade pendant space, Lin Yi would be fearless unless he encounters a particularly strong master. No matter what, you still have to be careful. Chu Pengzhan knew that Lin Yi had a certain degree of confidence when he heard Lin Yi say this, and he was not as worried as before. I don't want anything to happen to you either, don't worry, Uncle Chu. If I can't win, I will run away. Lin Yi didn't think it was shameful to run away if he couldn't win. What's so shameful about that? Fighting hard when you can't win is a problem. Then I'm relieved. Chu Pengzhan nodded and continued. Secondly, I want you to find out why Yao followed Zhong Pinliang to that Xuanyuan mountain. I was in a hurry before, so I didn't ask. I wanted to ask yesterday, but you had another incident yesterday, so I didn't bring up those unhappy things. So, I'm asking you to find out for me. I really don't know about this, Lin Yi said. I'll find some time to ask and call you back. No rush, no need to ask specifically. We'll talk when we have the chance. Chu Pengzhan didn't want to interfere too much in his daughter's private life. After all, she was grown up and not easily deceived. She must have had a reason to follow Zhong Pinliang up the mountain. Okay, I'll find a chance to ask. Lin Yi nodded, feeling that it was a bit inappropriate to ask Chu Mengyao this question rashly. After leaving the highway toll booth, Chen Yushan, still unwilling to give up, called Song Lingshan. However, Song Lingshan's tone was cold. Chen Yushan? You're back? What's going on? Song Lingshan had saved the number in her phone yesterday, but it was clear that she only cared about Chen Yushan as a friend. Nothing, just letting you know I'm back. Chen Yushan always felt oppressed in Song Lingshan's presence. Song Lingshan's dominance made him uncomfortable, but he couldn't muster the urge to resist. Oh, I see, Song Lingshan said calmly. Anything else? If nothing else. I'm hanging up. Are you really not free tonight? Chen Yushan hesitated, then asked. No, I'm busy. I'm hanging up, Song Lingshan said, not wanting Chen Yushan to speak, and hung up. Chen Yushan put away his phone with a self-deprecating look and called in Jianwen. Second brother, where are you? Tai and I are already at the Starlight Brilliant Hotel, VIP room 1 on the 5th floor. Zia Xuanyuan will be here tonight too, and Jianwen said with a smile. Okay, I'll be there in a minute, Chen Yushan sighed. And Jianwen had indeed used him as an excuse to get close to Chu Mengyao. How could Chen Yushan not know this? However, it seemed that his sister had fewer suitors. In the past, Chen Yushan was afraid that someone would harass his sister and affect her studies and life. But now his sister was 18 years old and was about to go to college, and no one was pursuing her. Wasn't that a little abnormal? However, when he thought of his sister's personality, Chen Yushan felt a little ashamed. With her personality, there were probably not many men who could get along with her. She was always teasing people or being silly. Back then, Wu Xiaoqin was just deceived by Chen Yushu's appearance. If he knew Chen Yushu's personality, he probably wouldn't dare to act so easily. If he brought Chen Yushu home, it would be fine if his sister liked him, but if she didn't, he would probably be screwed. After thinking about it, Chen Yushan called Chen Yushu again. Xiaoshu, where are you? Do you miss your brother? Chen Yushan sighed. He had been at the border for over a year and hadn't returned to Songshan City once. He didn't know how his sister was doing. When he was in Songshan City, he was his sister's protector. He didn't know if Chen Yushu would still rely on him like before. Oh, Sister Yao and I are about to leave. Chen Yushu was about to leave when her brother called. I used to miss you, but not so much now. I have Brother Arrow. I don't need you anymore, Brother Arrow. Chen Yushan was stunned. Who is Brother Arrow? Oh, his sister Yao's follower and bodyguard. Chen Yushu was a little annoyed that her brother had gone to special training for a woman, even going to the border for experience. So, she was a little resentful of Chen Yushan's attitude. Now that she could piss him off, she naturally wouldn't let him go. What's so good about that slutty Song Lingshan? She actually bewitched her brother so much, and he ignored her. Chen Yushu felt a little embarrassed. Look at how powerful Brother Arrow is. He has Song Lingshan under his thumb. If he tells her to go east, she won't dare go west. So in comparison, Brother Arrow is still more powerful. Chen Yushan was a little upset. How could an inexplicable follower appear out of nowhere and steal his limelight? My sister has always admired me and always thought of me first when she encountered trouble. How come Brother Arrow has become her boss now? It was already a shame that Chen Yushan didn't ask Song Lingshan out. How could a Brother Arrow appear and steal his place in his sister's heart? How could Chen Yushan not be furious? Chen Yushan wanted to slap this Brother Arrow away. Chapter 629, Who is prettier, Sister Yao Yao or Tang Yun? In fact, Chen Yushu used to be proud of Chen Yushan, but ever since Chen Yushan openly pursued Song Lingshan, Chen Yushu has been somewhat unhappy, especially since Song Lingshan ignored her brother and even said she would only accept him when she could defeat her. Isn't this just being difficult? Her brother is also foolish and calls Chen Yushu silly, which Chen Yushu thinks is even more foolish. Is it worth it for a woman? After a year of special training and 2 years of experience, it seems that he is still no match for that slutty vixen Song Lingshan. Otherwise, her brother would have won her heart and wouldn't be so low-key. Although it was a dinner party, and a relatively formal one, because it was to welcome her brother, Chen Yushu was still dressed cutely, with a strong Lolita style, while Chu Mengyao was more innocent and seemed a little older than Chen Yushu. Zia Oshu, are you ready? We're leaving, Chu Mengyao asked, patting the dressing room door. Oh, wait a minute, it will be ready soon. Chen Yushu rarely puts on formal makeup and dresses up, but this time, she dressed up carefully because her brother was coming back. Although she acted cold about her brother's return, in her heart, Chen Yushu still missed him very much. After all, they hadn't seen each other for more than a year, and he didn't even come back for the Chinese New Year. Oh, Chu Mengyao was not in a hurry. Since she was attending Xuanyuan's dinner party, she had a poor sense of time and didn't care whether she was early or late. Lin Yi took Chu Mengyao's Audi S5 out of the garage, parked it in front of the villa, and sat quietly in the car waiting for Chu Mengyao and Chen Yushu. A cell phone rang, and Lin Yi thought it was Xuanyuan calling towards them. Xuanyuan didn't dare towards Chu Mengyao, but he could call Lin Yi to ask about their departure. However, a glance at the caller ID on the phone surprised Lin Yi. It was actually Song Lingshan calling. Hello? Brainless girl, what's up? Intuitively, Lin Yi felt that Song Lingshan was looking for him at this time for no good reason, so his tone was also very impolite. Song Lingshan's expression froze. It had been a long time since she heard the nickname Brainless Girl. Song Lingshan almost forgot that she was still a brainless girl. However, Song Lingshan was not annoyed. She took a deep breath and tried to make her tone sound more cute. Yes, Brainless Girl has something to ask you. What is it? Every time Lin Yi heard Song Lingshan call herself that, he felt like laughing. Is this considered flirting between lovers? Ever since we busted a transit point for the kidney harvesting ring, we haven't found any other leads. Song Lingshan said this with a hint of resignation. But the criminal group hasn't stopped their advance. Instead, they've shifted their focus to the rural areas near the city. In the past week, 2 kidney harvesting incidents have occurred in Gazi village east of the city and Shenbu village west of it. My boss has given me a death order. I must solve the case within 2 weeks or I'll go home. Oh, is that so? Lin Yi replied calmly. Hey, you're not going to let that clueless girl lose her job, are you? Have some pity on her and help her through this difficult time. Song Lingshan felt a pang of anger after saying this, but she spoke it naturally, without hesitation. When had she come to feel that being humble in front of Lin Yi had become a matter of course? What can I do? Lin Yi felt pity at Song Lingshan's words, but he really didn't have any other options. He couldn't just abandon Chu Mengyao and Chen Yushu to help her solve the case, could he? The young lady would be furious again. You won't just stand by and watch someone die, right? Song Lingshan was really anxious. She had just been criticized by her boss today. If she didn't solve the case within 2 weeks, although she wouldn't lose her job as serious as she said, at least she wouldn't have the face to be the captain of the criminal investigation team anymore. I'll keep an eye on it for you. Lin Yi hesitated and agreed. Song Lingshan's expression made it difficult for Lin Yi to refuse. Whether it was for Yang Huaijan's sake or his personal relationship with Song Lingshan, Lin Yi couldn't just ignore it. Then call me if you have any news. This brain-dead girl's phone is on 24 hours a day for you. Song Lingshan was immediately very happy when she heard Lin Yi agree. Lin Yi didn't say anything. He just smiled faintly and hung up the phone. As for Song Lingshan, an inexplicable emotion welled up in her heart. Is she still the same person she used to be? Why did she have to whisper to Lin Yi? Where did the proud and strong Song Lingshan go? If my friends knew that I was flirting with a man and calling myself a brainless girl, wouldn't they laugh their heads off? No, this must not be known to anyone else. The reason Lin Yi agreed to let Song Lingshan keep an eye on him was because he had found some clues. That was in Xuanyuan. He had just told in Xuanyuan that he was going to deal with Zhong Pinliang, and the next day, Zhong Pinliang's kidney was removed. If he had just been beaten up, it would have been fine, but having his kidney removed was a very sensitive matter. Although Zhong Fabei didn't call the police, Lin Yi knew about it. Even if Zhong Pinliang's kidney wasn't removed by Xuanyuan, he was definitely closely related to Xuanyuan. And Xuanyuan was probably connected to a kidney scaling ring. It was precisely because of this that Lin Yi agreed to Song Lingshan's request. Although Song Lingshan's words sounded pitiful, Lin Yi didn't like to do things without certainty. He happened to be having dinner with Xuanyuan today, so Lin Yi could get a feel for Xuanyuan and find out what his relationship was to the kidney scaling ring. Not long after hanging up the phone with Song Lingshan, Chu Mengyao and Chen Yashu came out. When the two girls appeared, Lin Yi immediately felt astonished. They were already very beautiful even without dressing up. Today, they were formally going out for dinner and dressed up, which made Lin Yi stunned. What are you looking at? Chu Mengyao saw Lin Yi staring at her. Although Chu Mengyao scolded Lin Yi, she felt a little happy in her heart. He finally knew that there were two beautiful girls in his family. Lin Yi smiled slightly and retracted his gaze. Sister Yao is prettier than Tang Yun, right? Chen Yashu asked with a smile after getting in the car. Lin Yi was not sure how to answer this question. What if he answered it wrong and the young lady got angry again? This kind of difficult question is not something that ordinary people can answer. Chapter 630, Misunderstanding. But the truth is, both Miss Chu and Tang Yun were beautiful. If one had to say who is prettier, it's safe to say they each had their own merits. And naturally, Miss Chu looked prettier today than Tang Yun without makeup. That was undeniable. So, Lin Yi said, she's prettier with makeup on than Tang Yun. Lin Yi said this, without offending anyone. While openly praising Chu Mengyao, he also said, you only win with makeup on. Before, you're about the same. Miss Chu, however, automatically ignored the with makeup on, feeling a little smug. She glanced at Lin Yi, thinking, you have good taste, huh? Oh, what about me? Chen Yashu started by mentioning Chu Mengyao, then asked before bringing herself up. You're about the same as Yao, Lin Yi said, feeling unsure of what to say. Oh, am I really that beautiful? That's great. I finally met someone who's not blind. Oh, Chen Yashu exclaimed in surprise, glancing at Chu Mengyao. Xiaoshu, why are you looking at me? Do you mean to say that I'm blind? Chu Mengyao glared at Chen Yashu. Yet, who told you to say I'm not as pretty as you? Chen Yashu said confidently. Bitch, how could I say that? Chu Mengyao glared at Chen Yashu. Then what did you admit? Chen Yashu asked back. I didn't admit it, it was you who looked at me. Chu Mengyao was so angry that she was fooled by Chen Yashu. Then why do you feel guilty? Chen Yashu asked. I don't feel guilty, although I said before that my figure is more symmetrical than yours, Chu Mengyao said angrily. Oh, usually people with small breasts say that they are symmetrical. Chen Yashu was not convinced. You bitch, I'll tear your mouth apart. Chu Mengyao pulled Chen Yashu's face. Brother Arrow, Sister Yao is trying to murder me again, Chen Yashu screamed. Okay, I'm driving. Lin Yi didn't want to mediate, nor did he know who to help, so he changed the subject. By the way, Yao, why did you follow Zhong Pinliang up to Xuanyuan Mountain? Lin Yi remembered the mission Chu Pengzhan had given him over the phone earlier, and it was a good opportunity to ask without being too abrupt. Wasn't that liar Zhong Pinliang deliberately deceiving me? Chu Mengyao felt hurt at the memory. Zhong Pinliang had deceived her not only with her intelligence, but also with her feelings. Of course, this feeling wasn't about love with Zhong Pinliang, but the longing for her family. Zhong Pinliang had given Chu Mengyao hope, but then shattered it with a single blow. If Zhong Pinliang hadn't brought it up, Chu Mengyao would have kept it locked away, a deep sorrow, never to be easily released. But Zhong Pinliang had released this sorrow, giving her absolute hope. How could she not feel down? Whenever she thought about this, Chu Mengyao would cry silently. She didn't cry because she had been easily fooled by Zhong Pinliang, but because she missed her mother. She really missed her so much. Others have motherly love, but she didn't. Although she was the daughter of Pengzhan Group, with fine clothes and delicious food, she would rather not have all of this. She wanted a complete family. A happy family where she could have dinner with her parents every night. Lie to you, Lin Yi was driving, so he didn't notice that Chu Mengyao's mood was a little off. Yet, Chu Mengyao thought of her mother and felt a little sad again. Ah, Sister Yao, don't cry, okay, even if you are beautiful, you are prettier than me, okay. Chen Yushu held Chu Mengyao's hand and comforted her. Although Chen Yushu sometimes argued with Chu Mengyao about meaningless things, she still cared about her very much. Seeing her sad, her attitude immediately changed. Crying, Lin Yi was startled. He looked at Chu Mengyao in the rearview mirror. Sure enough, her eyes were red, as if she was about to cry. Yao, what's wrong with you? Zhong Pinliang lied to Sister Yao and said that he saw someone who looked very similar to Sister Yao in Xuanyuan Mountain. Chen Yushu said on behalf of Chu Mengyao. Zhong Pinliang's words sounded so convincing that he deceived Sister Yao. As a result, Sister Yao and I followed Zhong Pinliang up the mountain and were locked up in a cave. Someone who looked very similar. Lin Yi was even more stunned when he heard this. The eldest lady didn't seem so stupid, right? Just because someone looked very similar, she was tricked by Zhong Pinliang to see what was going on? Well, Sister Yao mistakenly thought that Zhong Pinliang saw her mother. Chen Yushu nodded and explained. At this time, Chen Yushu changed her previous playful expression. Her mother, Lin Yi, was even more confused. Didn't Yao's mother die? Your mother is dead. Chu Mengyao was furious. It would have been fine if Lin Yi didn't comfort her, but he actually cursed her mother to death? Lin Yi touched his scalp, wondering if he had misunderstood something. Could it be that Chu Mengyao's mother was not dead? Then why did Chu Pengzhan say that Chu Mengyao's mother left them when Chu Mengyao was very young? Wow! Lin Yi suddenly realized that he had misunderstood the word left. Generally speaking, death can also be said to be leaving, and in this tone and situation, leaving basically means this. However, the leaving that Chu Pengzhan said might be the original meaning of leaving. That is, for some reason, Chu Mengyao's mother ran away from home. Thinking of this, Lin Yi couldn't help but sweat. This misunderstanding was quite big. He had offended the eldest lady for no reason. It was really not worth it. However, Lin Yi didn't care about the eldest lady's counterattack. Your mother is dead. Lin Yi didn't know who his mother was at all, nor did he know if she was alive, so Lin Yi didn't have any psychological burden. He hadn't seen her since he was a child. Although he had imagined what his parents looked like when he was a child, Lin Yi had gotten used to it over the years and regarded the old man and master as his relatives. Oh, sorry, I misunderstood. It turns out your mother left home, Lin Yi explained a little embarrassedly. What's your attitude? Still laughing? Is it funny? Are you laughing at me because I'm pitiful? Chu Mengyao became even more angry when she heard that Lin Yi was still laughing. This was the weakness sealed deep in her heart, so Lin Yi's attitude angered her. Oh, laughing, Lin Yi shrugged and said helplessly, don't be sad. If you want to talk about pitiful, I'm more pitiful than you. I don't even know who my own parents are. I haven't seen them since I was a child. Chapter 631 shocked Chen Yushan. Ah, Lin Yi's words made Chu Mengyao and Chen Yushu stunned at the same time. Lin Yi had never told the eldest lady and Chen Yushu about his life experience, and they didn't think much about it. Now that Lin Yi said this, they knew that Lin Yi actually had such a sad life experience. He was actually an orphan? Oh my god. How did he get through all these years? It seemed that he didn't care about anything. Could it be that he also had a sad side that was not noticed by others? A woman's natural maternal instinct made the eldest lady sympathize with Lin Yi. Yes, compared to him, she was really nothing. At least she had seen her mother and had a father who loved her, but what about Lin Yi? He didn't even know who his parents were. Isn't that even more pitiful? I'm sorry, the young lady, a person who admits her mistakes and corrects them, immediately apologized upon hearing Lin Yi's words. I shouldn't have said that to you. I really didn't know you were even more pathetic than I was. Oh, I'm used to it. It's nothing, Lin Yi shook his head. Don't be fooled next time. If something like this happens, be the first to tell your father. I believe he understands your mother better than you do. Yes, Chu Mengyao nodded, surprisingly not arguing with Lin Yi. As they talked, despite the somewhat melancholy atmosphere, the young lady's mood had somewhat improved. While she still couldn't be cheerful, at least she wasn't crying anymore. Lin Yi parked the car in the Starlight Brilliant Hotel parking lot. They were already nearly half an hour behind schedule. The two girls had been dawdling at home for a while, and there was a traffic accident on the way, which contributed to their delay. However, none of the three looked embarrassed. They all got out of the car with a clear conscience and walked towards the hotel. Lin Yi was basically just a follower, so being late or not had nothing to do with him. He leisurely followed the two of them into the hotel. Chen Yushan had already arrived in the private room and was talking with Jianwen and Su Taizao. Although his expression was normal, he was extremely unhappy in his heart. One reason was Song Lingshan's rejection, and the other and most important reason was because of that arrow brother who suddenly appeared. His sister actually said that she didn't need him anymore? She had arrow brother? Chen Yushan was going to explode. He only had such a sister, and she was going to be snatched away by someone? What arrow brother and arrow sister? He would see who this arrow brother was. Wasn't he Chu Mengyao's follower and bodyguard? Then he would try and see if this person was qualified to be a bodyguard. If not, get the hell out of here, and let him go somewhere else to be arrow brother. At least he was not welcome here. As they were talking, there was a knock on the door outside the private room. And Jianwen wanted to get up to open the door and greet Chu Mengyao, but Chen Yushan stood up first. It seemed that he wanted to see who this so-called arrow brother was. Come in. As he spoke, Chen Yushan opened the door of the private room, and Chu Mengyao and Chen Yashu walked in. Brother Yushan, Chu Mengyao was still very polite to Chen Yashu's brother. As soon as she entered the room, she greeted him, and then said to Jianwen and Su Taizao, Brother Jianwen, Brother Taizao, Brother. Chen Yashu followed Chu Mengyao into the room, but Chen Yushan's face was a little gloomy. Where is that arrow brother? Is he coming with us? Chen Yushan was not an impulsive person, but at this moment, he had to step forward. His sister had been taken away by someone, how could he not be anxious? And Chen Yashu made it very clear that now that she had arrow brother, she didn't need him as her biological brother anymore. How could Chen Yushan not be entangled in this? Not angry? Oh, you're looking for Brother Arrow. Chen Yashu seemed oblivious to the tense expression on Chen Yushan's face. He's in the back. Chen Yushan nodded and walked boldly towards the private room door. When Lin Yi entered, he extended his hand. You're the Brother Arrow, right? Let me introduce myself. I'm Xiaoshu's brother, Chen Yushan. Chen Yushan wanted to embarrass Brother Arrow. He had already reached the early yellow rank, making him a match for most. He just wanted his sister to know that her brother was always the strongest. How? Lin Yi glanced at Chen Yushan, a strange expression on his face, but he still extended his hand. Huh? Chen Yushan's eyes suddenly widened, staring at Lin Yi intently. He couldn't believe his eyes, and excitedly pointed at Lin Yi. You teach, let me introduce myself. I'm the Brother Arrow you were talking about. Lin Yi interrupted Chen Yushan, smiling and saying, I'm Yao and Xiaoshu's follower. Huh? Chen Yushan was even more stunned. He's Chu Mengyao and her sister's henchman? What's going on? How did he become a henchman? Chu Mengyao and her sister are so proud, aren't they? They actually hired him as a henchman? But watching Lin Yi's actions, Chen Yushan understood. Lin Yi didn't want to reveal his identity. He introduced himself to Chen Yushan as Chu Mengyao and Chen Yashu's henchman. Although Chen Yushan found it a little unbelievable, since Lin Yi didn't want to be exposed, he didn't say it. He just excitedly shook Lin Yi's hand and said, Hello. My name is Chen Yushan, and I'm Chen Yashu's big brother. Haha, and Jianwen and Su Taizao frowned. What was going on with this Chen Yushan? Before Lin Yi arrived, he had declared that he would teach Lin Yi a lesson for stealing his sister's affections. Why did he have such an attitude now? Chen Yashu wasn't afraid of her brother bullying Lin Yi, instead, she wanted him to suffer a loss. Suddenly, she came to her senses and stopped thinking about that vixen Song Lingshan. But she wasn't expecting her brother to act this way. As if they'd met too late. Since you're Chen Yashu's older brother, I'll call you Brother Yushan. Lin Yi was already younger than Chen Yushan, so calling him Brother Yushan wouldn't be unfair. Chen Yushan, however, was somewhat flattered and was about to refuse, But when he saw Lin Yi's sharp gaze, he quickly nodded and said, "Okay, then I'll be so generous and call you brother." Chu Mengyao and Chen Yushu's eyes widened. Was Chen Yushin such an easygoing person? And even if Lin Yi was their henchman and bodyguard, Chen Yushin's gratitude for his daily protection shouldn't be so enthusiastic, right? They exchanged glances, each catching a glint of doubt. Chen Yushin realized he was getting too excited and shook his head. He was still too young and not yet composed enough. Chapter 632, Drowning Sorrow in Wine. Even though he was hit hard by Song Lingshan today, and was also very angry about the previous incident with Brother Arrow, and then the surprise when he saw Lin Yi, Chen Yushin felt that he still couldn't remain calm. It seems that all the training he had over the years was not enough. Looking at Lin Yi, he still had that indifferent expression, as if he didn't recognize him. Chen Yushin couldn't help but sigh that the gap between him and him would never be caught up. Chen Yushu was also a little puzzled by her brother's attitude towards Lin Yi. Why did he seem to have no hostility? Was it because Brother Arrow was too bad that her brother couldn't muster any hostility, or was it because he was too powerful that her brother didn't dare to have any hostility? After they sat down, and Xuanyuan notified the waiter to start serving the dishes and also ordered a lot of red wine. Because the food was prepared in advance and the ingredients had been added, it could be quickly served to the table when Chu Mengyao and others arrived, so it didn't take much time. Brother Yushin, since we last met, I never thought you'd become a major. We've all grown up, and Xuanyuan, as the host of today's banquet, naturally raised the first glass of wine. It's been a while since we last met, and we're all starting families and building careers. I miss those carefree days, haha, everyone has to grow up, Chen Yushin said calmly, also picking up his glass, though with a hint of bitterness in his heart. If it weren't for Song Lingshan, he wouldn't have embarked on the right path, would he? Would he still be the same playboy he was before? Chen Yushin would never forget Song Lingshan's disdainful look, that deep-seated dislike for playboys. It was also the reason Chen Yushin pulled himself together, but he could never surpass Song Lingshan. No matter how hard he tried, he started late, and without Song Lingshan's foundation, it was naturally impossible to catch up. To Lin Yi's surprise, Chu Mengyao actually raised her glass and drank it all in one gulp. Wasn't the eldest lady really that disliked Xuanyuan? How could she drink all the red wine in the glass at his suggestion? Lin Yi glanced at Chu Mengyao in surprise, but saw that she looked very lonely. Lin Yi was slightly stunned, and then he immediately understood that the young lady was still thinking about her mother and her mood had not recovered. She was just drowning her sorrows in alcohol. Lin Yi had long since let go of her parents' affairs, but Chu Mengyao seemed to be different. She had seen her mother when she was a child, and Lin Yi had never met his parents, which was a completely different feeling. So Chu Mengyao missed her and felt melancholy. She had always kept this feeling hidden in her heart, but Zhong Pinliang had brought it out, and she had no way to vent it. It was a very depressing feeling. If it could not be released, the whole person would be depressed. So, Chu Mengyao's use of alcohol to drown her sorrows was a good way. In fact, Chu Mengyao did think so. If she was asked to go out alone to eat with Xuanyuan, she would definitely not drink. Who knew if Xuanyuan would have bad intentions after getting drunk? But now that Lin Yi was by her side, Chu Mengyao let down her guard. She didn't believe that Lin Yi would ignore her if she was drunk. After all, with this shield, why not use it? When Xuanyuan saw Chu Mengyao drink the whole bottle, a look of surprise flashed across his eyes, but it was soon replaced by excitement. He had been worried that Chu Mengyao would not give him face and not drink. In that case, he would not be able to drink too much. If he did not drink much, the drunken confession would not be possible. He and Su Tai had come up with many excuses to persuade her to drink, but now it seemed that they were useless. However, Xuanyuan was still very depressed. What was wrong with Chu Mengyao today? Why didn't she play by the rules? He had wasted so many brain cells thinking of excuses before, and now it was all in vain. Sister Yao, why did you drink so much? Chen Yushu also noticed something was wrong. Nothing, I just wanted to drink, Chu Mengyao said lightly, not admitting her unhappiness. Oh, can I drink too? Chen Yushu pursed her lips, eyeing the red wine with a hint of envy. She didn't usually drink, as she rarely had access to such things at home. Chu Mengyao usually wouldn't let her drink, and she'd thought about it several times, only to be sternly refused. Unexpectedly, today, she took the initiative. Okay, but not too much. Chu Mengyao hesitated, then nodded in agreement. Oh, Chen Yushu picked up the red wine glass. She hadn't drunk during the toast earlier, but now that no one was toasting, she savored it with relish. Thankfully, everyone present was used to Chen Yushu's personality, and no one commented. It's sour and sweet, seems quite good. Chen Yushu took a sip, then gulped down the entire glass. While it wasn't top tier, since Xuanyuan was treating, the wine he'd ordered couldn't be cheap. If it's good, drink more. Xuanyuan, fearing they wouldn't drink, filled his glasses and raised them again. Come on, let's have another toast. Zia Oshu, Yao Yao. May you remain forever beautiful and youthful. Chen Yushu was completely disrespectful. Before Xuanyuan could finish his words, she downed her glass of red wine in one gulp and poured another, completely ignoring Xuanyuan's words. Sister Yao Yao, this is better than juice. You can't drink too much, though. You'll get drunk. Chu Mengyao said this, but deep down, she really wanted to get drunk, to forget her sorrow and wake up feeling like her old, strong self again. What kind of wine is this? Chen Yushu asked, taking the bottle after another drink. I don't know, but it's drinkable. Chu Mengyao rarely drank, so how could she know so much? Even if she came from a wealthy family, she was just a high school senior. Chu Pengzhan wouldn't allow her to drink so freely. This is Lafite Rothschild from 2009, and Xuanyuan boasted. It looked like Chu Mengyao and Chen Yushu didn't understand, which gave Xuanyuan a chance to make conversation. Lafite Rothschild is one of the world-renowned French Bordeaux wines produced by Chateau Lafite Rothschild. Wine lovers all know that Bordeaux implemented a classification system for the region's famous wineries in 1855. At that time, they selected the 61 finest wineries from among the countless chateaux, calling them classified growths. These 61 wineries are further divided into 5 levels. 4 of these are on the first level: Chateau Lafite Rothschild, Chateau Latour, Chateau Margaux, and Chateau Haut-Brion. Of these 4, Lafite Rothschild ranks number 1. Chapter 633. A few more bottles. Haha, the 2009 Lafite tastes similar to the 1982 Lafite, so it's also one of the best-selling Lafite vintages on the market. The price is fair and the taste is pure. Suitor's ale also added on the side. Oh, it seems that Brother Xuanyuan is not bad. He treated us to world-famous wine. Chen Yushu nodded and said happily to Chu Mengyao, right, Sister Yao Yao. When Xuanyuan heard what Chen Yushu said, he felt so happy. He thought to himself, Chen Yushu, you haven't done a single good thing for me in all these years, and now you finally said something fair, so awesome. Haha, it's nothing. As long as Yao Yao and Zia Oshu are happy, what does a few bottles of wine matter? And Xuanyuan waved his hand and said lightly. Yet, but what does that 1982 Lafite taste like? Sister Yao Yao, do you want to drink it? Chen Yushu turned her eyes and looked at Chu Mengyao. Chu Mengyao, who had been feeling rather sad, was almost amused by Chen Yushu. After all the talk, it turned out this girl's intention was to get another bottle of 1982 Lafite to try. And Xuanyuan's face froze. He hadn't expected Chen Yushu to say that. Wasn't this a rip-off? 1982? That bottle of wine was being sold for over 150,000 yuan on the market, and in the Starlight Brilliant Hotel, it was being sold for a whopping 300,000 yuan. And Xuanyuan felt a sudden pain in his kidneys. Brother Xuanyuan, Sister Yao Yao wants to try some 1982 Lafite too. We haven't tried it yet. How about ordering a few bottles? Chen Yushu had used this trick to rip off Zhong Pinliang countless times. It was effortless. A few bottles? My kidneys. And Xuanyuan nearly fainted from shock. 300,000 yuan a bottle, that's almost like a kidney. Some kidneys couldn't even afford that price. Did Chen Xiaonu really think she was a tycoon? Was it easy to make money on your own? The police were closing in, and his business volume plummeted. He had no choice but to source kidneys from the rural areas in the suburbs. He could barely get 1 or 2 kidneys a week, and he was going to eat several kidneys in one meal? He was so angry that he wanted to curse and glared at Suitor's ale fiercely. You are such a bad mouth, aren't you? If you don't say anything, people will think you are dumb. If you don't mention the 1982 Lafite, how would Chen Yushu know about the 1982 Lafite? But he couldn't get angry on the spot, because that would make him look too rude, and how could he pursue Chu Mengyao? Especially since Chen Yushu had said so, and Chu Mengyao wanted to drink it too. How could he refuse? Waiter, bring 2 bottles of 1982 Lafite, and Xuanyuan suppressed his heartache and ordered 2 bottles of wine. 2 bottles are not enough, right? Sister Yao and I will have 1 bottle each. What are you guys going to drink? Chen Yushu monopolized the 2 bottles of 1982 Lafite in one sentence. That's enough. We won't drink that. We used to drink it all the time. You two just have a taste. And Xuanyuan wanted to cry. 2 bottles aren't enough? You want me to sell my kidney too? The Yin family was wealthy, but the 2 brothers each managed their own affairs. After paying the family and the Fire Wolfgang each month, there wasn't much left. A meal that used to cost tens of thousands of yuan had become hundreds of thousands, which severely damaged Xuanyuan's vitality. Chen Yushan thought to himself that his sister was still as ruthless as ever. It was truly unbearable for the average person. The only strange thing was how he ended up being Chu Mengyao and her sister's lackey. What was going on? With his strength, he was qualified to protect any important figure, yet he was actually protecting 2 little girls? But Lin Yi had clearly told him not to reveal his identity, so Chen Yushan didn't dare to ask rashly. However, none of this could stop Chen Yushan's fanaticism and his admiration for Lin Yi. It could be said that if it weren't for Lin Yi, he wouldn't be as powerful as he is today. 2 bottles of 1982 Lafite were placed on the table. Lin Yi casually glanced at the seals and labels. They were undoubtedly genuine. While there were many counterfeit 1982 Lafite bottles on the market, the Starlight Brilliant Hotel, with its size and strength, wouldn't sell fakes. After all, the price they charged for the real thing wasn't cheap, 1 to 2 times what you pay through the window. Sister Yao, let's have 1 bottle first, and take the rest home, okay? Chen Yushu thought it would be better to take it home than drink it here. She could have Wrigley cook a couple of dishes, and the 3 of them enjoy a candlelight dinner together. How romantic. Whatever you want, it didn't matter what Chu Mengyao drank, she just wanted to let out some emotion, to drown her sorrows, to let the alcohol dissipate. And Xuanyuan nearly jumped out of his chair when he heard Chen Yushu's words. You want to take it home, why didn't you say so earlier? Why buy it at the hotel? Go to the store tomorrow and save 150,000 yuan, half a kidney. But Xuanyuan couldn't say this, because it would be even more embarrassing, so he could only hold it in. Thinking that the main task today was to get everyone drunk, and then take the opportunity to confess his feelings, and Xuanyuan could only put other thoughts aside. If he really succeeded in confessing his feelings today, then these hundreds of thousands of dollars would not be wasted. So while Xuanyuan kept urging others to drink, he also started drinking. In order to make it more realistic, he didn't deliberately control his alcohol intake. After all, he had a good alcohol tolerance and red wine wouldn't make him drunk easily. Seeing Su Taizao raising his glass to toast for various reasons, and Xuanyuan's anger subsided a little. This guy was quite smart and knew to help him urge others to drink. Chen Yushan was very restrained today. Because Lin Yi was there, he couldn't let go at all. He glanced at Lin Yi from the corner of his eyes from time to time, but saw that Lin Yi was as calm as ever, sitting there, not looking around, and not speaking. But Chen Yushan still felt an invisible pressure that made him breathless. However, Xuanyuan and Su Taizao hadn't seen Chen Yushan in a long time, so they didn't think anything was strange at the moment. They thought his character had changed and become more stable after joining the army. And Xuanyuan's main purpose was to invite Chu Mengyao and then confess his love after drinking, so Chen Yushan's behavior had nothing to do with him. It was just an excuse to organize a banquet. The 4 young masters of Songshan were no longer the 4 young masters of Songshan. Their relationship was not as close as imagined. The phone rang, and Xuanyuan frowned. He took out his phone, glanced at the caller ID, and found that it was from his subordinate, the tattooed man. After hesitating for a moment, he answered the phone. What's up? I'm eating, Brother Wen. The situation is very tense lately. It seems that the police are getting serious again. There are police cars all over Gazi village. We can't do anything now, the tattooed man asked with some frustration. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelis. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 634 Tip-Off. Wait a minute, Xuanyuan couldn't even tell Su Taizao what he had done, so he couldn't discuss it in the private room. He stood up and said to everyone in the room, "I'm going to take a call. Let's drink first." Then he stood up and walked out of the room. Lin Yi had amazing hearing, but he couldn't make out what Xuanyuan said on the phone. He only vaguely caught the word police car. He had always been concerned about Xuanyuan, so he instinctively felt that there was something fishy about this call. After Xuanyuan left, Lin Yi also stood up and said, "I'm going to the bathroom." Su Taizao had no idea that Xuanyuan had been hiding his phone from others. He assumed that Xuanyuan felt it was impolite to talk on the phone in the private room and was deliberately maintaining a gentlemanly image in front of Chu Mengyao. So, when Lin Yi left immediately afterwards, he didn't care at all, and didn't even glance at him. In his view, Lin Yi was just a small-time bodyguard, not worthy of public attention. His politeness to him was just to get Lin Yi to act as a traitor and help Xuanyuan pursue Chu Mengyao. Lin Yi broke Bing Xiao's leg and even demolished his building. Su Taizao had witnessed this. He and Xuanyuan had been at Bing Xiao's completion ceremony that day. He even found it a little unbelievable. How could Lin Yi still be alive? After offending Bing Xiao, he could still be so carefree as to come and dine with Chu Mengyao and Chen Yushu? Didn't Bing Xiao seek revenge? Although strange, when he told Xuanyuan all this, he simply smiled and offered no further explanation. Su Taizao didn't know, but Xuanyuan did. Li Chihu had revealed that 2 of his fellow yellow rank masters had died at Lin Yi's hands. Was he just an ordinary person? If he was just an ordinary bodyguard, why would Xuanyuan pay him? He'd suffered so many setbacks at his hands, yet he still treated him like a brother? Wasn't that crazy? Xuanyuan didn't have adequate bodyguards, so he naturally wouldn't mess with Lin Yi. As for Bing Xiao's refusal, perhaps he was afraid? After all, Lin Yi and Li Chihu have already formed an irreconcilable feud. Of course, these grudges have nothing to do with Xuanyuan. What he cares about is the family business and whether he can pursue Chu Mengyao. Nothing else matters. After leaving the box, Xuanyuan walked to the end of the corridor with a staggering step. When he was alone, he continued to talk on the phone. Although he was a little drunk, he was still very cautious. There are some things that must not be known to others. He regretted having removed one of Zhong Pinliang's kidneys before. Of course, he didn't regret offending Bing Xiao and Li Chihu because of Zhong Pinliang. He regretted not having removed Zhong Pinliang's kidney. It would be better to beat him up or even crush his testicles than to remove a kidney. Would this easily expose himself? Fortunately, Zhang Fabei didn't call the police, and Li Chihu also had a cooperative relationship with him. This matter was suppressed for the time being, otherwise something might happen. Why are you asking me about such a small matter? If they're keeping a close eye on you, take it easy. We'll talk about it later. Xuanyuan was anxious to get back and confess his feelings to Chu Mengyao, so he was a little impatient with the tattooed man. Brother Wen, the Fire Wolf King is pressing hard. The supply is very limited there. How about we spend money to buy some? Some of those farmers are really short of money. If we spend money to buy kidneys, we should be able to get some, the tattooed man said carefully. Buy us? Where would we get the money? Xuanyuan's heart ached when he thought about how much he had spent on a single meal today. How could he even afford to buy a kidney? How many kidneys would he have to sell to cover the cost of today's dinner? The tattooed man didn't expect Xuanyuan to be so angry, so he didn't dare to say anything. Useless thing, Gazi village is in trouble, why don't you go to another village? I heard that Bingjia village to the north is also very poor. Many people are unregistered and don't even have household registration. Why don't you go there? Xuanyuan said angrily. Yes. Our next stop is Bingjia village, the tattooed man quickly replied. Alright, don't call me unless you have something important to do. I have something important to do, Xuanyuan cursed, hanging up the phone, putting away his phone and heading back to his private room. Lin Yi dodged into the nearby restroom, so Xuanyuan naturally didn't notice that Lin Yi had just eavesdropped on his call from behind him. If Lin Yi's suspicions were correct, this Xuanyuan was most likely the mastermind behind the kidney scaling ring. However, whether he sold kidneys or not didn't really matter to Lin Yi. As long as it didn't affect him or his friends, Lin Yi wouldn't bother with him. But since Song Lingshan had come to him for help, and Lin Yi had promised to help her, he decided to help her this time. After checking that the restroom was empty, Lin Yi called Song Lingshan. In fact, This floor was made up of luxurious private rooms, each with its own private restroom, so the public restrooms were rarely used. Aside from the waiters, few customers ventured far to use them. Lin Yi, Songlingshan was inexplicably surprised when she received the call from Lin Yi. Although she didn't know what Lin Yi wanted to talk to her about, she instinctively felt that it must be good news. There's a village called Bingjia village in the north of the city. Pay special attention to it. Lin Yi didn't waste any time and directly told Songlingshan the news he had heard from Xuanyuan. Bingjia village. Songlingshan was stunned, but then she understood what Lin Yi meant. So, could this be the next target of the kidney-stealing gang? Songlingshan was excited. Although she was a little curious about how Lin Yi got the information, she was smart enough not to ask. Songlingshan had witnessed Lin Yi's peculiarities firsthand. As an obedient, likable, and brainy girl, Songlingshan knew that Lin Yi would definitely not appreciate her constant barrage of questions like 100,000 whys. Okay, I have something else to do. I'll hang up first, Lin Yi said quickly to Songlingshan when he heard faint footsteps in the hallway. Thank you. The brain-dead girl will treat you to dinner some other day. You really helped her a lot, Songlingshan said very gently and cutely. Lin Yi didn't answer and hung up the phone directly. Looking at the notification on the phone that the call had ended, Songlingshan was so angry that her teeth itched. When had she ever been so humble? This Lin Yi was so indifferent. However, Songlingshan was discouraged again. Who made her ask Lin Yi for help? Forget it, just treat it as a lover's pampering. Fortunately, no third person knew about it. Songlingshan comforted herself. Only by thinking this way could Songlingshan feel a little more balanced. Otherwise, why should she be so humble? Chapter 635 Reporting to you. After leaving the office, Songlingshan shed her gentle, feminine demeanor and solemnly addressed her squadron leaders. Turn off your phones and prepare for a meeting. We have an urgent mission tonight. Yes. Captain Song. The squadron leaders had been grappling with a kidney harvesting case. It was the worst criminal case to hit Songshan City in recent years. Provincial and municipal leaders had issued instructions for the Songshan City Criminal Investigation Brigade to solve the case as quickly as possible to minimize the negative impact of the criminal gang. Otherwise, the city would be in turmoil. Children were afraid to go to school alone. Kidney harvesting gang had even become a terrifying code name. If a child cried, parents would just scare them with a kidney harvesting gang and the child would stop crying. The negative impact had reached such a magnitude that the criminal police were working overtime to analyze the case and investigate clues, but progress was minimal. After all, this wasn't an individual crime, but a well-organized criminal gang with a sophisticated sales network. This type of criminal gang is also the most difficult to find evidence and leads against. They only arrest individuals when they're searching for kidney donors. Once captured, they perform surgical procedures to remove the kidneys within their own territory and sell them through their own channels. They have no contact with third parties during this period, leaving no trace. Captain Song, have you found a lead? Liu Wangli and Songlingshan were close friends, so seeing her serious expression gave him a strange feeling. Could there really be a breakthrough? Well, I have some leads, Songlingshan said, feeling a bit proud. Seeing the respectful and admiring gazes from the crowd, she felt even more confident that her coquettishness had paid off. A lead, everyone had a vague guess, but they weren't certain. After all, the case was complex. Although they held high hopes and admiration for Songlingshan, it was unbelievable that she had found a lead after just a short time in the office. After all, during the afternoon meeting, Songlingshan was still at a loss, earning a beating from several bureau leaders. If it weren't for Yang Huaijin's mediation, the entire criminal investigation team would have been singled out for criticism. I received a tip-off and learned in advance the location of the criminal group's next crime scene. Songlingshan wouldn't reveal the specific location before the operation. Although these subordinates were all trained by Yang Huaijin and could be trusted, it's always better to be safe than sorry. If someone lets slip and the criminals get the information, there's no telling when they'll find a clue. Now, let's discuss the action plan, and everyone should brainstorm. If we just arrest them directly, we might just end up like last time, catching small fry and not helping the case. Everyone nodded and began to express their opinions on the action plan. Shortly after Lin Yi hung up the phone, he heard footsteps approaching the door. Someone was clearly heading to the restroom. Lin Yi was puzzled. Who would need to use the restroom? Lin Yi had expected a waiter, but the person who came in startled him slightly. It was Chen Yushin who walked in. Lin Yi gave a wry smile, knowing that Chen Yushin must be looking for him, otherwise, he wouldn't come to this public restroom. Instructor. Special Training Brigade 0197 reports to you. Chen Yushin stood at attention, saluted Lin Yi solemnly and seriously, and spoke crisply. How? Lin Yi smiled faintly, but didn't respond, just shrugged. I'm just a follower, not your instructor. Lin Yi didn't return the greeting, which meant that Lin Yi had already cast aside his previous identity. Chen Yushin's greeting was in vain. His expression froze, but there was no trace of disrespect. Instructor, after you left, I heard that you went to carry out a special mission. How come? I came back a long time ago. Lin Yi's tone was still very calm. I said it a long time ago. I am not your instructor now. I am Chu Mengyao's follower, of course, your sister's follower. She calls me Brother Arrow. You can call me that, or you are older than me. You can call me Brother Arrow or Lin Yi. It turns out that instructor Lin Yi's name is Lin Yi. Today is the first time Chen Yushin heard Lin Yi's real name. When he was in the special training team, Lin Yi's code name was Eagle, and all the team members called Lin Yi Instructor or Eagle Instructor. Okay, I should go back. Lin Yi didn't want to mention the past. He waved to Chen Yushin and turned to leave the bathroom. How could the instructor become my sister's lackey? Chen Yushin couldn't understand the logic behind this, but since Lin Yi wouldn't say anything, there was nothing he could do. He'd always dreamed of meeting the instructor again one day and asking for his guidance. But now that he'd met Lin Yi, he'd been evasive about discussing his former identity, leaving Chen Yushin with no way to make his request. Lin Yi returned to the private room. And Xuanyuan continued drinking with a composed expression. Seeing Lin Yi enter, he said nothing, for he hadn't expected Lin Yi to tip off Songshan. After 3 rounds of drinks, how about we do something fun? Drinking alone isn't fun anymore, Su Taizao said, his voice thick. What do you all think? He was genuinely a little drunk, and he'd lost control of his alcohol consumption, so he was dazed. But that made him look even more convincing, making it harder for anyone to spot the flaws. Otherwise, with Chu Mengyao's intelligence, she'd definitely see through it, and she'd think he was acting, which would have been bad. What should we play? Tell me, and Xuanyuan glanced at Chu Mengyao and Chen Yushu, then said, do you have any suggestions? Anything fun would be great. I love playing, Chen Yushu agreed. Drinking alone was so boring. If she drank any more, she'd drag Sister Yao home. Chu Mengyao, however, said nothing, nor did she object. Honestly, she didn't want to play anything with Xuanyuan and Su Taizao, but since Xiaoshu and Lin Yi were there, and Xiaoshu wanted to play, it didn't hurt to have some fun. I think, why don't we play Truth or Dare? Su Taizao was talking when Chen Yushin just returned to the box. Hearing his words, Su Taizao said to Chen Yushin, Brother Yushin, want to play together? We used to play it often before. Do you remember that time, you chose Truth or Dare and wanted to kiss Songshan, but you got beaten up? Ha. Su Taizao was really a little drunk, otherwise he would not have told Chen Yushin's old embarrassing stories, but when people are drunk, they tend to talk without thinking. Chapter 636, Lost Face. Chen Yushin's expression immediately turned ugly. This was a stupid thing he did when he was young. It was clearly planned by Su Taizao. He asked him to choose the dare and then kiss Songshan, but he was beaten up by Songshan. Su Taizao actually brought it up as a joke. However, seeing that Su Taizao was also a drunk, Chen Yushin did not get angry for the sake of both of their faces. Lin Yi was stunned. Chen Yushin, is he still Songshan's pursuer? It seems that Songshan is not very interested in him. Lin Yi thought, if you were to kiss Songshan, how would she react? He estimated that she would most likely swallow her anger. What is Truth or Dare? Lin Yi had never heard of this game, nor had he played it. Haha, it seems that brother Lin Yi has never played it. Taizao, explain the rules of the game, and Xuanyuan said to Su Taizao. Okay, this game is very simple, Su Taizao said. The so-called Truth or Dare is a game that multiple people can play together. You can use rock paper scissors or spin the bottle to decide who the person to be asked is. Of course, you can also ask them one by one in order. Since there are more of us, we don't need to play rock paper scissors, it's too troublesome. Then, for example, if I am the questioner, I can ask a question, and the person being asked must answer it, and must tell the truth, not nonsense. If the nonsense is exposed, they will be fined a bottle of wine. Of course, if the question is sensitive and involves personal privacy, you don't have to answer it, but you must choose the dare. The dare means that I propose a task, and the person being asked must do it, without any objections, and they must do everything. And after choosing the dare, there is no regret, unless you choose to drink a bottle of wine before that. Oh, then you guys play it first. Let me see. Lin Yi felt that this kind of game didn't matter to him much, whether he participated or not. Okay, then we'll play first. You watch first. Su Taizao nodded and agreed happily. In his opinion, whether Lin Yi participated or not was irrelevant to him. As long as Chu Mengyao participated, everything would be fine. Then let me start. I'll ask brother and some questions. Okay, go ahead, and Xuanyuan nodded calmly. He knew Su Taizao wouldn't ask him those tricky questions, and in this first round, there was no way he could just confess his feelings to Chu Mengyao. That would be too abrupt. He'd have to wait for a while before confessing. Then I'll start. I won't ask such tricky questions in the first round. I'll wait for the next round, Su Taizao said deliberately. My question is, what's the bravest thing you've ever done? The bravest, and Xuanyuan thought. The bravest thing he'd done was probably removing someone's kidney, but of course, he couldn't say that. He also had to maintain a positive image in front of Chu Mengyao, so he couldn't bring up those fights. After a long thought, he realized that among the bad and damaging things he'd done, there were quite a few that were impressive, but there were no positive ones. Thinking of this, and Xuanyuan couldn't help but feel a little annoyed by Su Taizao's question. What kind of bullshit question are you asking? But he couldn't not answer it. If he didn't answer it, it wouldn't be truth or dare. But whether it was truth or not, only Xuanyuan knew. After organizing his words, and Xuanyuan thought of some adventure movies he had seen before, so he said, if I say the bravest thing I have done, it would be fighting sharks. Oh, I like fighting sharks the most. Sister Yao also likes brave people. Chen Yushu clapped her hands and shouted. Chu Mengyao glared at Chen Yushu, but didn't say anything. And Xuanyuan was overjoyed after hearing what Chen Yushu said. Chu Mengyao likes brave people? It seems that Su Taizao's question was really right. Then it seems that he has to give full play to his skills. So he said, once I was at a bathing beach, I was swimming, and suddenly I heard screams and cries for help not far behind me. As a result, when I turned around, I saw a big shark swimming towards this side quickly. At this time, I didn't think of escaping, but to save these tourists from danger, so I swam towards the shark quickly. When the shark saw me swimming over, it thought I was here to die, and it was immediately very happy, and was about to swim over to eat me. How could it know that it was actually itself that was going to die? Wow, Brother Xuanyuan, you are so brave, Chen Yushu exclaimed. Not bad. Hearing Chen Yushu's praise, and Xuanyuan was even more excited. Under the influence of alcohol, he began to make up stories. I punched the shark in the mouth and broke all its teeth. The shark was toothless all of a sudden, becoming a toothless tiger and couldn't eat me, so it was immediately dumbfounded. Then it turned around and tried to run away. How could I let it get away? It's not that easy to run away after scaring others. So I grabbed the shark's tail and spun it around. It fell to the beach with a bang and got a concussion. Oh my god, Chen Yushu widened her eyes in disbelief. Brother Xuanyuan, you are so awesome. I heard that shark teeth are the strongest animal teeth in the world. You can even break them. That's amazing, and Xuanyuan was slightly stunned. How could he know whether shark teeth were hard? He had only seen living sharks in the aquarium. Where had he touched a real shark? He was just making up a story just to show off his bravery. He didn't think too much about it. But now that the words were out, there was no going back, so he had no choice but to bite the bullet and say, it's okay, not that great. Oh, Brother Xuanyuan, I have a keychain made of shark teeth. Can you show me how to break it? Chen Yushu said, taking out a keychain and placing it on the table. It was the tooth of the shark that Lin Yi killed last time. Chen Yushu had taken it home and made it into a keychain out of boredom. Huh? And Xuanyuan's eyes widened, his face almost cramping. He hadn't expected Chen Yushu to actually take out a tooth and ask him to break it. Was this a joke? Not to mention that shark teeth are the strongest teeth in the world, even an ordinary tooth would be impossible for him to break. And Xuanyuan's face turned green. How could he explain this? Wasn't this a joke? How could he break a shark tooth? But if he refused, he had to have a reason, otherwise he would lose face. But what kind of reason was needed? Chapter 637 Buy one get one free. Huh, that shark's teeth are not very strong, and Xuanyuan laughed. Not very strong? What do you mean? Chen Yushu blinked in confusion. Chu Mengyao couldn't help laughing. Her best friend looked silly, but she could confuse others and make them suffer without them realizing it. That shark may have dentures. So they are not strong. Su Tai saw that and Xuanyuan was embarrassed and quickly came to his rescue. Dentures? Do sharks also see dentists? Chen Yushu said in surprise. Are there clinics in the sea? And Xuanyuan was so angry. Is Su Tai sick? Even if he is drunk, he can't talk nonsense. Sharks also have dentures? Do they think they are human? No, don't listen to him, and Xuanyuan said quickly. The shark I shot was an old one. Its teeth are loose, so it can't take a beating. Oh, it was an old shark. Chen Yushu nodded. Brother Xuanyuan, you're amazing. You can even tell that the shark is old? Haha, that's right. Okay, enough about that, let's move on to the next question, and Xuanyuan waved his hand. I'll invite you to my house alone sometime. I still have the shark skin. Oh, sure. I haven't seen what the skin of an old shark looks like. I must find someone to identify it and see how it differs from a young shark. Chen Yushu nodded. I love studying sharks, and Xuanyuan almost cursed himself for being stupid. Why bring up shark skin when there was nothing to do? What if Chen Yushu went to see it? Where would he get it for her? Shark skin was easy enough, he could just go to the market and buy some, but old shark skin was harder to get. What if Chen Yushu went to identify it and found out it wasn't an old shark? Would that be a slap in the face? Okay, let's talk about it another day, and Xuanyuan could only bite the bullet and agree. After saying that, he quickly said to Chen Yushin, Brother Yushin, it's my turn to ask a question. Okay, go ahead. Chen Yushin watched in Xuanyuan's embarrassment and felt inwardly amused. His sister was truly a complete clown, capable of bullying people to death. Who is the most important person to you? And Xuanyuan had originally wanted to ask a tricky question, but remembering Su Tai's earlier suggestion to ask some common questions first, it wouldn't be a good idea for him to ask a tricky one directly, so he just asked a simple one. In his opinion, the most important person to Chen Yushin was naturally Song Lingshan. The most important person to me is my instructor during special training. Chen Yushin said this, looking at Lin Yi with some reverence. Seeing that Lin Yi didn't even look at him, Chen Yushin couldn't help but feel a little disappointed, but he continued, he changed my life, gave me ideals, gave me goals, and made me a formidable soldier. If possible, I want to be his student forever. Chen Yushin's words puzzled and Xuanyuan and Su Tai's Ao. Chen Yushin had changed a lot in the past few years, but they didn't know who his instructor was, and they didn't think much of it. Whether he was still pursuing Song Lingshan didn't matter to Xuanyuan and Su Tai's Ao. Chen Yushu, on the other hand, looked at her brother in surprise. She didn't expect her brother, who had always been obsessed with Song Lingshan, to say such a thing. The person who meant the most to him was actually his instructor. It seemed that her brother had truly matured and had new ideals and goals in life. But who was his instructor? Was he really that powerful? Was he as powerful as Brother Arrow? Okay. Zia Oshu, it's my turn to ask you. After Chen Yushin finished his answer, he didn't wait for Xuanyuan to say anything, and asked Chen Yushu directly, who do you think is more powerful, me or your Arrow brother? And Xuanyuan and Su Tai already knew who Arrow brother was. When they heard Chen Yushin ask this, they all thought that Chen Yushin was angry. Otherwise, they wouldn't ask like this. If Chen Yushu didn't answer well, I'm afraid Chen Yushin would have a conflict with Lin Yi, right? And Xuanyuan was a little gloating. Although he had a good relationship with Lin Yi on the surface, that was also based on the fact that he was with Chu Mengyao and tipped him off. In fact, and Xuanyuan hated Lin Yi very much. In this box of the Starlight Hotel, he was bullied by Lin Yi twice. How could Xuanyuan forget that humiliation? If Chen Yushin could beat Lin Yi for him, and Xuanyuan would be very happy. Thinking that Chen Yushin is Chen Yushu's brother, even if he attacks Lin Yi should not dare to fight back for Chu Mengyao's sake, right? Haha, then this beating must have been in vain, and Lin Yi is unlucky. However, it all depends on how Chen Yushu answers. So Xuanyuan looked at Chen Yushu eagerly as soon as Chen Yushin finished asking, waiting for her answer. Oh, I think Brother Arrow is a little bit more powerful. Chen Yushu didn't expect her brother to ask this. Did he still hold a grudge against her for the phone call before? But seeing that her brother didn't show any hostility towards Lin Yi, Chen Yushu didn't care. Haha, okay, Xiaoshu, it's your turn to ask Chu Mengyao? Chen Yushan just smiled after hearing this and didn't say anything more. This surprised Lin Jianwen and Su Taizao, who had been watching. What was going on? Has Chen Yushan's temper become so good? Then I'll ask. Chen Yushu nodded and looked at Chu Mengyao. Sister Yao, if I become a concubine in the future, will you bully me as the first wife? I don't want to be bullied. Chu Mengyao was a little amused. What kind of question was this? Become a concubine? Chen Yushu really took it seriously? Chen Yushan was also stunned. His sister's idea was really weird. She actually wanted to be a concubine? And Lin Jianwen was so scared after hearing what Chen Yushu said that his heart almost exploded. Although Chen Yushu was beautiful and had a good figure, it would be a mess if he married her home. He knew exactly what kind of character Chen Yushu was. He liked Chu Mengyao. If he married Chu Mengyao in the future, it would be a buy one get one free deal. How would he live? If you didn't understand Chen Yushu's character, you would definitely think it was a big deal, but if you knew Chen Yushu's character, you would know that you were bringing home a troublemaker. He didn't want to live in the shadow of being bullied every day. During this short dinner, Chen Yushu had already bullied him several times. If he brought this back home, would he still be alive? How could I bully you? Chu Mengyao couldn't answer Chen Yushu's question directly and could only speak vaguely. Chapter 638, Choosing to take risks will lead to tragedy. Oh, then it's settled. I'll be your concubine from now on, Chen Yushu said happily. Ahem, Brother Yushan, I think Xiaoshu's concept seems to be a bit problematic, and Jianwen was so scared that his heart was about to explode. This couldn't be allowed. Although having a big wife and a small wife is a man's dream, there are different types of big wives and a small wife. If he marries Chen Yushu home, wouldn't it be a disaster? Will he still be able to survive? They are just kids, they all like to make trouble. Chen Yushan didn't think much of it. He thought his sister was joking. After all, this matter sounded a bit unbelievable, and his sister's ideas have always been different from those of ordinary people. It is possible that she said it deliberately to trick Lin Jianwen. This doesn't seem to be a joke, and Jianwen said earnestly, Brother Yushan, you have to guide your sister correctly. This is a new era. How can there be wives of different sizes? This is not okay. You have to educate her well. However, after Lin Jianwen finished speaking, Chen Yushan hadn't spoken yet, but Chen Yushu spoke first. This is a matter between me and Sister Yao. What does it have to do with you, Ga? And Jianwen was choked speechless. Yes, this is someone else's business. Isn't it meddling in other people's business? If he confessed to Chu Mengyao and was accepted by Chu Mengyao, then it would still have something to do with him, but hasn't he confessed yet? Okay, it's Sister Yao's turn to ask questions. Chen Yushu glared at Lin Jianwen impatiently and said, Sister Yao, it's your turn. Me. Chu Mengyao didn't know what to ask, but after thinking it over, she still didn't know what to ask, so she said, how about I give this right to Xiaoshu? Okay, then let Xiaoshu do it. And Jianwen was eager to confess his feelings, so why wouldn't he agree to Chu Mengyao's suggestion? Okay, I love asking questions. Chen Yushu rubbed her hands eagerly and looked at Su Taizao with a smile. Brother Taizao, I want to ask a question. Yes, go ahead, Su Taizao nodded. He was also eager to ask a question that would allow Lin Jianwen to confess his feelings, so he was also anxious. Brother Taizao, how old were you when you stopped wetting the bed? Chen Yushu asked. Huh? Su Taizao's eyes widened. He didn't expect Chen Yushu to ask such a question. Although this question is a bit funny, it is very sharp, because Su Taizao has a secret, that is, he has been wetting the bed since he was a child. Although not many people know this secret, people who are close to him also know a little about it, but they will not mention it in person because of face. When Su Taizao was in kindergarten, he urinated on the kid sleeping in the lower bunk. Since then, Su Taizao has never lived in a school or other place again. Until now, he dare not drink too much water at night because he is afraid of wetting the bed. This secret is his eternal pain. Now that Chen Yushu suddenly asked, Su Taizao is a little embarrassed to answer. The so-called truth or dare is that you must tell the truth. Of course, you can lie, as long as you are not exposed. But Su Taizao dared not lie, because although this matter is a secret, some people know it. He even thinks that Chen Yushu deliberately asked the question because she knew the secret, So as long as he lies, he will be exposed by Chen Yushu, and that will be even more embarrassing. Su Taizao was filled with resentment. But he had no recourse. The reason was simple: Chen Yushu was just that kind of person. And Jianwen had already been utterly harassed by her, so what about him? Su Taizao was too embarrassed to tell the truth directly. He couldn't just say he was still wetting the bed. That would be too humiliating. But if he didn't, he would have to choose between a dare or a penalty drink. Su Taizao had already drunk quite a bit, and any more would have been unbearable. So, after some thought, he decided to take the dare and said, "I refuse to answer. I'm taking the dare." "Oh, great. Finally, someone's taking the dare," Chen Yushu applauded. Su Taizao was even more certain that Chen Yushu had done it on purpose. She wanted to see someone else take the dare, so she had deliberately asked such a tricky question. In reality, Chen Yushu had simply asked casually. Although Chen Yushu knew some of Su Taizao's secrets, he would never share them with his sister. Chen Yushu's question was pure luck. "Brother Taizao, I order you to drink 2 bottles of red wine." Chen Yushu thought for a moment and said, "Huh?" Su Taizao nearly jumped out of his chair. 2 bottles of red wine? What a joke. He hadn't chosen to drink because he didn't feel like drinking anymore, and Chen Yushu actually ordered him to drink 2 bottles of red wine. Wasn't that a joke? However, since he had chosen the big risk, he couldn't go back on his word. Chen Yushu's request wasn't excessive, it was normal, and he couldn't refuse. Su Taizao hesitated, and Chu Mengyao couldn't help laughing. This Chen Yushu really knew how to play tricks on people. Wasn't this just to make Su Taizao regret it? "Brother Taizao, are 2 bottles too little? How about 4? Chen Yushu looked at Su Taizao innocently, as if she hadn't done this evil thing. What a joke. 4 bottles? Su Taizao finally felt a little relieved. Chen Yushu had only asked him to drink 2 bottles. If he had, wouldn't he have drunk himself to death in one go? "Okay, drink it quickly, and then we'll continue," and Jianwen's whole mind was on the confession in a while, so he didn't care much about whether Su Taizao drank or not, he just wanted the game to continue quickly. Since Jianwen said so, Su Taizao had no choice but to bite the bullet and drink 2 bottles of red wine, and then said, "Okay, let's continue, it's my turn to ask questions. Brethren, what I want to ask you is, do you have a sweetheart?" "Of course I do," and Jianwen heard that Su Taizao finally asked the key point, so he began to talk excitedly. "My sweetheart is my childhood sweetheart Chao. When I was young, I secretly had a crush on her, hoping that when I grow up, she can be my girlfriend, and then marry her and have children. Oh, then do you want to sleep with sister Yao?" Chen Yushu suddenly interrupted and asked. "I do," and Jianwen blurted out without a second thought. But after he finished speaking, he felt something was wrong. "Huh?" This was in Jianwen's own voice. Although he thought so too, he couldn't say it out loud. It was just that he had drunk today and was talking so excitedly that he got a little carried away and fell for Chen Yushu's trick. Chapter 639 "I'm sorry." Chu Mengyao frowned, glared at Jianwen with some disgust, and then said to Chen Yushu, "Zia Oshu, don't say those impolite words." "Oh, I'm just making sure." Chen Yushu stuck out her tongue. "Well, Yao, don't get me wrong, I. And Jianwen was still a little confused. If he denied it and said that he didn't want to sleep with her, wouldn't it mean he didn't like her? How could he confess his feelings then? But if he said he did, it wouldn't be right. And Jianwen was going crazy. This Chen Yushu was really good at making trouble. Fortunately, he had listed her as an unwelcome guest early on, otherwise if he really took her home, wouldn't he die young? He was so angry every day. "I'm sorry, brother Jianwen, I don't want to sleep with you," Chen Yushu said with some regret. "What does this have to do with you?" And Jianwen thought to himself, "It has nothing to do with you. You want to sleep with me, but I don't even dare to." But since Chen Yushu changed the subject, it was exactly what Jianwen wanted to see, and he could use other topics to ease his embarrassment. "Of course it's related." Chen Yushu nodded seriously and said, "Sister Yao is the first wife, and I am the second wife. If you want to sleep with her, doesn't that mean you have to sleep with the second wife too? But I don't have a good impression of you, it's impossible for me to sleep with you." And Jianwen's head was full of black lines, and he wanted to curse, but he didn't dare to. Chen Yushan also frowned. He didn't expect his sister to be so bold in her words and deeds now. It seems that he has to find a chance to understand his sister's current life. Xiaoshu, don't talk nonsense, Chu Mengyao shouted. You are a girl, don't always keep those 2 words on your lips, it's not good, okay, Sister Yao, I won't say anything. Chen Yushu closed her mouth after she finished speaking. And Jianwen, completely unimpressed, gave a dry laugh and a look at Su Taizao, telling him to continue his next round of confession with Chu Mengyao. Since Chen Yushu had ruined this round, continuing was impossible. Brother Yushin, it's my turn to ask you a question, and Jianwen wanted to finish this round quickly so Su Taizao could continue questioning him. Without much thought, he casually asked, who is that instructor you mentioned? I can't tell you. It's a secret. Chen Yushin knew he wasn't the star of the show today. He'd only come here because Song Lingshan had rejected him, and he had nowhere else to go, so he just wanted to have some fun. But he'd unexpectedly run into Lin Yi. This was his biggest reward tonight. Although Lin Yi seemed reluctant to talk about the past, it didn't matter. As long as he found Lin Yi's people, there would be more opportunities for future interactions. Chen Yushin was confident that as one of his most proud students, Lin Yi would not ignore him. Therefore, Chen Yushin had no interest in any games. His reason for staying here was to sit face to face with Lin Yi. What an exciting and thrilling experience. The instructor who was once unattainable can actually sit at the same table with me today. What an honor is this. If my former teammates knew about this, they would probably be envious to death, right? Chen Yushin's words surprised Jianwen and Su Taizao. They thought it was an ordinary topic and Chen Yushin would just say a few words and it would be over, but they didn't expect him to keep it a secret. Is there something special about the identity of this instructor? However, even if his identity is special, it has nothing to do with Jianwen and Su Taizao, so the 2 of them dared not be interested. Jianwen was a little impatient, but he continued to say, so, Brother Yushin, do you choose to drink a penalty or take a big risk? I'll drink a bottle of penalty. Chen Yushin's alcohol tolerance is very good, especially in the past few years when he was stationed at the border. It was difficult to get through the cold winter nights without alcohol, so his alcohol tolerance was much better than before. Chen Yushin opened a bottle of red wine and drank it without blinking. After finishing, he asked Chen Yushu, Xiaoshu, do you have a boyfriend? Chen Yushin felt that his sister seemed to have become a little more open-minded, always talking about going to bed, so he wanted to test her to see if she had a boyfriend. Oh, I want one too, but Sister Yao is not very helpful. If she doesn't find a boyfriend, then neither can I, Chen Yushu said with some grief and indignation. No, Chen Yushin was stunned. However, this was good news. It was just that his sister's thoughts seemed a little strange. Had she and Chu Mengyao really reached this level? Did she have to become a concubine? No, Chen Yushu shook her head and said, okay, it's my turn. Sister Yao, when are you going to find a boyfriend? I don't know. Chu Mengyao glared at Chen Yushu. Stop asking such weird questions, this is truth or dare. Of course we have to ask some weird questions. Chen Yushu, however, was unimpressed. Hey, I'm thinking of 3 batches. If you don't find a boyfriend, then when will it happen, huh? Not only in Jianwen and Su Taizao, but Chen Yushin's eyes widened as well. He didn't expect Chen Yushu to say such a powerful thing. 3 batches? And Jianwen's face twitched twice. Although 3 batches was cool, it depended on who it was with. With Chen Yushu, he didn't have that much courage. He didn't want to die yet. Lin Yi, on the other hand, had become accustomed to it and sat there expressionless. Xiaoshu, didn't I tell you not to say that? Why are you still using such vulgar words? Chu Mengyao was a little angry. Sister Yao, I didn't say that. I said 3 batches, not sex, Chen Yushu argued. That's the same thing. You're not allowed to say that anymore, Chu Mengyao snorted. Okay, then I'll tell you secretly when I get home, Chen Yushu whispered. You're not allowed to tell me even when I get home, Chu Mengyao glared at her, not wanting to continue the conversation. Okay, you can continue asking Brother Taizao questions. Su Taizao's heart skipped a beat. Another question from Chen Yushu? No way? But before he could utter a different word, Chen Yushu had already begun his second round of questions. Brother Taizao, are you still wetting the bed? Chen Yushu wasn't stupid. Su Taizao's previous refusal to answer, his choice to take a risk, had already made her think something was amiss. She figured Su Tezao must be a bedwetter, so she decided to ask a similar question. You can't play it like that. I've asked this question before. Su Tezao jumped up and objected. Chu Mengyao hadn't expected Chen Yushu to be so mean. Asking once wasn't enough, but asking a second time. Wasn't that embarrassing? But Chu Mengyao also found it very magical. Su Tezao wet the bed? Chapter 640 The same problem. Although Chen Yushan and Jianwen didn't say anything, because they already knew about Su Tezao's problem, they just didn't say it to her face. But Jianwen also felt that Chen Yushu's question was a bit sharp at this time. This girl is really difficult to deal with. Chen Yushan could only smile bitterly, wondering if his sister really stumbled upon it by accident or knew something in advance. My question is different from the previous one. The previous question was, at how old were you when you stopped wetting the bed? And the question now is, do you still wet the bed now? Are they the same? Obviously different, right? Chen Yushu explained, counting on her fingers. Isn't that almost the same? Su Tezao had a headache. Brother Tezao, you also said that it is almost the same. Almost means different, so you can answer, Chen Yushu said. Su Tai had not expected that he had been tricked again without realizing it. He gave a bitter smile. This time he did not dare to take a big risk and directly picked up a bottle of red wine. I'll drink a bottle of wine as a penalty and refused to answer. After drinking the wine, Su Tai took a few breaths and finally recovered a little. Seeing that Jianwen was a little impatient, he hurriedly continued to ask, Brethren, it's my turn to ask questions now. I want to ask you, what is your ideal girlfriend like? Ideal girlfriend. Jianwen saw that it was his turn to perform again. He could not be fooled by Chen Yushu this time. He could not answer her sinister questions casually. He had to confess in one breath, my ideal girlfriend must have beautiful long hair, be about 1.65 meters tall, slightly thin, pure and beautiful. Well, just like Yao. Okay, brother Jianwen, it's your turn to ask my brother. I have prepared new questions to ask sister Yao. Hurry up. Jianwen was interrupted by Chen Yushu before he could speak. Wait, I'm not done yet. Jianwen was a little anxious. It was Chen Yushu again. Why was she so annoying? You've finished. Brother Tezao asked you what your ideal girlfriend was like, and you already answered. It's the same as sister Yao, Chen Yushu said. Look, you've already answered. I haven't finished yet. I haven't explained the rest yet. Jianwen said, furious. Do I need to explain? Then explain it quickly, Chen Yushu said impatiently and boringly. What was I just saying? Jianwen was a little lost for words after being interrupted by Chen Yushu. You said you wanted to find a girlfriend like sister Yao? Chen Yushu said, okay, brother Jianwen, I hope you find a girlfriend similar to sister Yao. Do you have anything else to explain, huh? Jianwen was immediately stunned. I want to find someone similar? I want to find Chu Mengyao. Why find someone similar? So he quickly said, what I mean is, I just want to find Yao. No, that won't work. Sister Yao already has a crush, and I don't like you anyway. Chen Yushu waved her hand. Alright, let's move on to the next round. Jianwen's nose was crooked with anger. Was Chen Yushu deliberately sent by heaven to antagonize him? Although he hadn't finished his words, with Chen Yushu interrupting him, Jianwen obviously couldn't continue. He just said, okay, let's move on to the next round. Brother Yushan, are you still going to marry Song Lingshan? Not really, haha. I feel like the gap is getting bigger and bigger. And the hope is getting smaller and smaller. Chen Yushan didn't deliberately avoid the question, but shook his head and said calmly. This was the end of Chen Yushan's answer, and it was Chen Yushu's turn to question Chen Yushu. Chen Yushan thought about what to ask his sister. He had asked everything he needed to ask. Since his sister didn't have a boyfriend, she must still be faking it. She was still her old, foolish personality. By the way, when you were little, Yao and I buried an iron box in the yard. What secret was inside? Chen Yushan had curiously asked his sister at the time, but she blushed and refused to answer. Chu Mengyao also deliberately avoided answering the question. For a while afterwards, Chen Yushan was always curious about the secrets in the box, but he never got the answer. Later, he joined the Special Training Brigade and gradually grew up to become a member of the armed police stationed on the border. That box? It's nothing, it's just a vow between Yao and me. Chen Yushu didn't feel embarrassed anymore. Over the years, Chen Yushu's personality had been formed, this kind of foolish and naive person, deceiving others without paying for it. Vow? What vow? Chen Yushan asked. And Jianwen also waited for Chen Yushu's answer with wide eyes. He didn't care much about other people's affairs, but Chen Yushu said that this also involved a vow made by Chu Mengyao. Anything related to Chu Mengyao was of great interest to him. Our vow is that from now on, Sister Yao and I will marry the same man. Sister Yao will be the first wife, and I will be the second wife, Chen Yushu said with a hint of pride. Zia Oshu, stop talking nonsense. Chu Mengyao's face flushed slightly. What kind of vow was that? She didn't know why she'd agreed back then. She'd thought she didn't want to be separated from Zia Oshu, and that this way, we could be together forever. But now that she's grown up, she looks back and realizes how naive she was back then. Is such a thing really possible? Could Zia Oshu really marry the same man as her? Even if she agreed, wouldn't that scare her future boyfriend? Chu Mengyao didn't know what to ask, but the image of Lin Yi suddenly popped up in her mind. Why did she think of him? If Zia Oshu married him, they'd be a good match. He was probably the only one who could handle Chen Yushu's antics. After living under the same roof for so long, Lin Yi still didn't seem to tire of her. Chen Yushan couldn't believe his sister had made such a vow at such a young age. Could it be that all she'd said about first and second wives was true? Is she really going to marry the same man as Chu Mengyao? This is too unbelievable, right? This is not on the interests of the Chen family. How could a girl from the Chen family become someone else's concubine? How could Grandpa agree? Of course, if the man is very strong and the object of competition among the major families, then it is possible, but such people seem to be too rare. Even if there are such people, can they tolerate their own sister? Don't let the concubine's tenderness not be enjoyed, but instead be tricked to death by her. Chen Yushan's eyes unconsciously stayed on Lin Yi. If this person is his instructor, it might be a good choice. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelis. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 641 Go Kiss Brother Arrow. Chen Yushan was perplexed by Lin Yi's sudden appearance as a henchman beside Chu Mengyao and Chen Yushu. He couldn't figure out why. Was it someone's plan? Was it a deliberate attempt to bring them together? Was it aimed at Chu Mengyao or Chen Yushu? Personally, Chen Yushan naturally wanted his instructor and his sister to be together. That would not only strengthen his relationship with Lin Yi but also serve the Chen family's interests. Lin Yi's skills had already reached the peak of the mid-yellow rank and were on the verge of breaking through to the late yellow rank. Now, perhaps he was already in the late yellow rank? At least Chen Yushan couldn't see Lin Yi's true strength. Lin Yi's strength was exceptional among the younger generations of the major families, so marrying his sister wouldn't be impossible. And Jianwen, however, was now even more troubled. He hadn't expected Chen Yushu to have agreed with Chu Mengyao since childhood. Would marrying the same man in the future be a difficult decision for him? It seemed he had to find a way to expose Chen Yushu and Chu Mengyao. This was imperative, otherwise pursuing Chu Mengyao would become an impossible task. Let Chen Yushu be his concubine? And Jianwen simply did it there. Firstly, he couldn't bear it. He only had one heart. Even if he was the boss of an organ trafficking ring, if his heart suddenly exploded, he wouldn't be able to find a replacement. Even if he did, she would be dead. Secondly, he couldn't bear Chen Yushu's background and identity. Not to mention whether the Chen family would agree, even Chen Yushan wouldn't agree. The man Chen Yushu would marry in the future would probably be either a child of an aristocratic family or a peerless master. Okay, it's my turn to ask a question. Chen Yushu didn't care what everyone thought, and hurriedly said to Chu Mengyao, Sister Yao, it's finally my turn to ask you a question. I'm going to ask you. Who was the person you had your first kiss with? La la la, ha ha ha. After Chen Yushu finished asking, she couldn't help but laugh slyly. First kiss with someone, Chu Mengyao frowned, and suddenly thought of Lin Yi. Seeing Chen Yushu's sly smile again, Chu Mengyao knew she had no good intentions. Chu Mengyao didn't want to answer, but she also didn't want to drink. She'd already had quite a few, and her head was still a little fuzzy. I refused to answer. I choose there. Okay, Sister Yao, You're the second person to choose dare. I'm going to start asking questions, Chen Yushu said excitedly. Sister Yao, I order you to kiss Brother Arrow. Chu Mengyao glared at Chen Yushu and said, I'm not going. Go ahead. You gave Brother Arrow your first kiss anyway, so another kiss won't be a big deal, Chen Yushu said matter-of-factly. Xiaoshu? Chu Mengyao was furious and glared at Chen Yushu fiercely. Have you had enough? You've gone too far. Oh, I don't think it's a big deal. Brother Arrow kissed me before, too. I think it's normal, Chen Yushu said. And Xuanyuan, who was sitting across from her, frowned. Chu Mengyao's first kiss was with Lin Yi? Was it true? But seeing Chu Mengyao's expression, it seemed she had acquiesced. She didn't object, only asking if Xiaoshu had had enough and saying she'd gone too far. Thinking back to Chen Yushu's previous question about who Chu Mengyao's first kiss was, and how she'd refused to answer instead of saying no, this meant she definitely had her first kiss. But simply didn't want to. Otherwise, she'd just answered no. How straightforward would that be? Could it be that Chu Mengyao and Lin Yi were really having an affair? And Xuanyuan's face turned grim. Then, when Chen Yushu said that the person she'd kissed was also Lin Yi, could it be that something had really happened between these three people living under the same roof? And Xuanyuan wanted to flip the table. He was already furious. This Lin Yi had actually been stealing from his employer and playing him off, claiming to be tipping him off, but in reality, he was having an affair with a mistress. And Xuanyuan felt the urge to kill Lin Yi. Chen Yushan was also a little surprised. Lin Yi had kissed his sister? And, it seemed, Chu Mengyao too? What was the relationship between these three? So was Lin Yi still his henchman? Although Chen Yushan was puzzled, he didn't see anything wrong. Lin Yi was by Chu Mengyao's side, so Chu Pengzhan couldn't have been unaware. Since Chu Pengzhan hadn't said anything, was there something else going on? In truth, Chen Yushan had no objection to his sister marrying Lin Yi. On the contrary, he would have been happy. It had always been his wish. It was just Chu Mengyao's turn now. But as long as his sister was willing, Chen Yushan wouldn't say anything. Okay, Xiaoshu, stop joking. Seeing Chu Mengyao about to explode, Lin Yi intervened. This game is yours. I'm just a spectator, so I have nothing to do with a big adventure. Can you give Yao a different adventure? Okay, that's all for today, and Xuanyuan couldn't hold back any longer. He wanted to kill Lin Yi right then and there, but because Chen Yushan and Su Tai were already gone, he didn't show it immediately. But he also decided he wouldn't eat at the same table with Lin Yi again. After Xuanyuan finished speaking, he stood up and walked out of the private room without looking back. Su Tai's Ao glanced at Chen Yushan, but said nothing. Instead, he ran out after Xuanyuan. Chen Yushan sneered. The friendship between the four young masters of Songshan would vanish after today's dinner. What remained was only the personal friendship between Xuanyuan and Su Tai's Ao. Chen Yushan had other things to do that evening. Although he wanted to go back to the villa with Chen Yushu and ask about Lin Yi, he was afraid that Lin Yi would be upset. After thinking it over, he decided to let things take their course. Since Lin Yi had become his sister and Yao Ao's follower, there was no need to rush. At the hotel entrance, Chen Yushan said goodbye to Chen Yushu and Chu Mengyao. Before leaving, he looked at Lin Yi with admiration, but Lin Yi didn't even look at him. Instead, he drove Chu Mengyao's Audi S5 over like a follower and waited for Chu Mengyao and Chen Yushu to get in. Chen Yushan had no choice but to wave to Chen Yushu, saying some words to take care, and then left. He had originally wanted to remind Lin Yi to be careful of Xuanyuan, because Xuanyuan was not a generous person. Today's incident had greatly humiliated him, and he would definitely retaliate. However, thinking of Lin Yi's strength and skills, his reminder seemed a bit redundant. Chen Yushan shook his head and left. Lin Yi drove Chu Mengyao and Chen Yushu towards the villa. Chapter 642 Song Lingshan was arrested. Xiaoshu, were you drunk today? You said something a bit harsh, Chu Mengyao said to Chen Yushu. Although I kind of hate Xuanyuan, your brother was here after all. It ended up being a sour situation, which wasn't nice. Oh, I wasn't drunk, Chen Yushu shook her head. I just thought Sister Yao was a little upset today, and I wanted to cheer you up. Chu Mengyao was slightly stunned. She had never imagined that Chen Yushu's antics today were meant to cheer her up. A warm feeling welled up in her heart, and she hugged Chen Yushu, touched. Xiaoshu, thank you. Oh, It's nothing, Chen Yushu shook her head. Since Sister Yao is upset, I naturally want to make you happy. Well, Xiao Shu, you're so nice to me. Chu Mengyao was truly touched. Then you have to let me be your concubine from now on, Chen Yushu said. Oh, sure. Let's be together forever, good sisters, Chu Mengyao nodded, her first direct response to Chen Yushu's silly question. Lin Yi, driving ahead, seemed oblivious to the conversation between the two sisters behind him. In reality, he did hear, but he didn't know what to say, or how to persuade Chu Mengyao and Chen Yushu. Back at the villa, Chu Mengyao and Chen Yushu went upstairs, hand in hand, to talk in private, leaving Lin Yi alone downstairs. After a meeting, Song Lingshan decided to go undercover, infiltrating the criminal gang and busting them completely. Otherwise, arresting only minor suspects wouldn't help the case. This method of sending someone out to arrest someone is called a UFO. As the name suggests, a UFO is an unidentified flying object. Even if they were apprehended, the true meaning behind it would remain unknown, much like the unknown nature of UFOs. Song Lingshan, against all odds, decided to take the risk herself. After all, as the team leader, this case was her unshirkable responsibility. If she didn't go, someone else would, and she, as the team leader, wouldn't be reassured. After all, Song Lingshan was the most powerful member of the entire criminal investigation team. Only if she took action personally could she minimize the danger and ensure the success of this undercover plan. Although many of the squadron leaders did not want Song Lingshan to take the risk, she had already made up her mind, so they had no choice but to provide cover. So, Song Lingshan disguised herself as a rural woman, appearing to be a woman traveling at night in Bingji village. By Ozzy, there's a woman traveling at night coming over there. Should we take action? Two burly men were whispering behind a haystack. I think it's a good idea. We've been ordered to bring someone back today. We've been waiting for so long, and finally someone's here. I think it's her, the burly man named by Ozzy nodded. Brother Ma, wait until she gets here, then we'll take action, Brother Ma nodded. If we don't, how will we have the money for drinks and women? Damn it, she's the one. Song Lingshan had already sensed something was amiss. Her professional sensitivity as a criminal investigation captain and the keen insight of a yellow rank expert had already revealed that two potential enemies were lurking nearby. But Song Lingshan's goal this time was to be captured by these individuals, so she could infiltrate their ranks, locate their base, and wipe out their organization. Song Lingshan's plan was to disguise herself as a captured kidney-scaling thief and be transported to the gang's headquarters. Just before the kidneys were harvested, she could pounce and wipe out the entire operation. Go, Brother Ma waved his hand and called to Ozzy. Suddenly, the two men leaped out from behind the haystack, pinning Song Lingshan down on either side. Ah, what are you doing? Help, Song Lingshan screamed. Ma Jie and Ozzy smiled at each other. In this desolate wilderness, no one could hear them, not to mention shouting with their voices, even with a loudspeaker. Although they were operating in Bingji village, they didn't dare to arrest people in crowded places. What if they alerted the villagers? How could the two of them be a match for a large group? So, to be on the safe side, they chose a sparsely populated field path. Although it was quiet here, it also had a disadvantage. There were almost no people at night, unless someone was traveling at night. The two men just wanted to try their luck here in the first half of the night to see if they could wait for someone to pass by. If that didn't work, they would wait until the second half of the night to break into the houses and arrest people. Although that was more dangerous, at least it would be late at night and wouldn't alert most people. But what they didn't expect was that after only a few hours of waiting, they would see a village woman walking alone at night. This opportunity was really rare. They didn't care if Song Lingshan cried for help, and simply punched her in the neck, knocking her unconscious. In reality, Song Lingshan hadn't fainted, she was merely pretending. If a yellow rank master could be so easily knocked unconscious, then he was far too weak. The two men dragged Song Lingshan into a van, which then sped off toward the city. After about half an hour, Song Lingshan was taken to another abandoned factory on the outskirts of the city, still outside the city limits, but this time in a completely different location from their previous base. Song Lingshan knew it was just a temporary stopover, not the gang's headquarters. She was simply being held there. The two men were only there to arrest her, another group was likely responsible for transporting her to the surgery. That was likely their headquarters. At the abandoned factory, Song Lingshan was dumped into a basement, and the two men happily went to collect their money. The one who was in charge of guarding him was another man with a somewhat gloomy appearance, a hooked nose, and deep eye sockets, like a person who smoked opium excessively. The hook-nosed man looked at Song Lingshan carefully, and was immediately amazed. He did not expect that a village woman could be so beautiful. It was really unexpected. Moreover, she looked young and should not be married yet. The hook-nosed man smacked his lips, a little envious, but after hesitating for a moment, he still dialed a number. "Brother with a tattoo, we caught a fat sheep," the hook-nosed man said in a low voice, for fear of waking up Song Lingshan, but he didn't know that Song Lingshan had been awake the whole time. "Oh? Very good, I'll send someone to pick up the goods later." The one who answered the phone was Xuanyuan's confidant, the tattooed man. "The speed this time is not bad, I commend you. Keep up the good work, let them continue to catch fat sheep." Chapter 643. Did you catch her? "Of course, Brother Tattoo, I've already sent them out to find a new target," the hook-nosed man said cautiously. In reality, he knew full well that the two men, after taking the money, had gone out for drinks. Finding one target in one night was a good idea, so why would they go back and look for another? So he quickly said flatteringly, "By the way, Brother Tattoo, there's a girl here. She's very pretty, maybe even a virgin. You can enjoy her first." "Oh? Really? I see," the tattooed man said calmly, without showing any emotion. The hook-nosed man had no idea that the tattooed man had a boss above him. He assumed the tattooed man was the boss, which was why he had offered Song Lingshan to him. After hanging up the phone with the hook-nosed man, the tattooed man quickly walked over to Xuanyuan and said, "Brother Wen, our guys have captured a girl. I hear she's pretty, maybe even a virgin. Do you think she's okay?" "Oh," and Xuanyuan raised an eyebrow. He was extremely upset, wanting to vent his anger, but he couldn't find a way. Upon hearing a girl had been captured, he immediately piqued his interest. "Bring her up to me and show her." While those men might not be particularly high class, they earned a handsome commission for each job, had access to high-end nightclubs, and had seen beautiful women before. So they called her Shui Ling, and the woman who dared to call him specifically to offer tribute must be quite good. And Xuanyuan had been struggling to find a place to vent his frustrations, and now someone had presented her to him, much to his delight. The tattooed man dispatched a car to the hook-nosed man's transit station and quickly brought Song Lingshan to headquarters, where they imprisoned her in a dungeon they had built. She was truly stunning. This was the tattooed man's first impression of Song Lingshan. Not only was her face beautiful, but her figure was also incredibly hot, with curves in all the right places. She must be a top-notch beauty. And based on his years of experience, he knew the woman before him was undoubtedly a virgin. This certainly met Brother Wen's standards for women. However, the tattooed man felt that Song Lingshan looked very familiar, as if he had seen her somewhere before, but he couldn't remember where. After locking Song Lingshan up, the tattooed man returned to Xuanyuan and whispered, "Brother Wen, the person has been delivered. She is indeed a top-notch talent, but she looks familiar. I feel like I've seen her somewhere before." He was a cautious man who would not miss any details. Otherwise, he wouldn't have been able to do this for so long without any problems. You have to know that when Xuanyuan's brother was here, the tattooed man was the person in charge. "Where have we seen them?" "What do you mean?" And Xuanyuan frowned and asked, "Is he someone you know before?" "Probably not. I have an impression, but I don't know where. Even if I do, we're not close acquaintances." The tattooed man shook his head. "I'm not from here. I can't possibly have any relatives in Bingjia village, is that so?" And Xuanyuan hesitated. "Turn on the dungeon surveillance. I'll take a look for myself." "Yes, Brother Wen." The tattooed man nodded and turned on the dungeon surveillance footage. And Xuanyuan's room had a monitor, and the scene inside the dungeon could be seen clearly from there. Song Lingshan didn't wake up after arriving in the dungeon, still feigning unconsciousness. In fact, she had secretly checked the dungeon. There were several surveillance cameras, and she could be seen doing anything there. So, to confuse the enemy, Song Lingshan pretended to be unconscious. This should be the headquarters of the kidney-sucking gang, right? I wonder if Liu Wangli and the others outside have received the signal? Oh no. Captain Song's tracker has lost its signal, Liu Wangli exclaimed nervously, staring at the surveillance screens inside the police station. Before Song Lingshan left, she'd been wearing a transmitter. This meant the police's trackers could track her wherever she was, making it easier for them to directly disrupt the enemy's base. However, shortly after Song Lingshan arrived at the first transit station, the signal went away. Could something have gone wrong? Liu Wangli's face was filled with anxiety, and so were the others around him, all staring nervously at the screens. The tattooed man was no fool. He'd been doing this for so long without incident, so he must have his methods. He was worried that someone sent by the police might sneak in with a transmitter, so the car that picked them up had been jammed and blocked. The same was true throughout the entire headquarters. Apart from special wired internet phones, no cell phone had any signal. Of course, and Jianwen's own phone was forwarded, so he could still receive calls. The monitor screen turned on, and the focus of the surveillance camera was getting closer and closer. And Jianwen finally saw Song Lingshan's face clearly, and he couldn't help but curse. Fuck, what's wrong, Brother Wen? The tattooed man was stunned by Jianwen's reaction. He didn't know why he suddenly reacted so strongly. Brother Wen, do you know him? Of course I don't know him. Song Lingshan, the captain of the criminal investigation team of the Songshan City Police Department, and Jianwen widened his eyes. Chen Yushin's pursuit target, how did he catch her? No way? The captain of the criminal investigation team was caught. The tattooed man was a little dumbfounded. He thought to himself, why does he look so familiar? It turns out to be the captain of the criminal investigation team of the police station. This is a figure that often appears on TV. He should have seen it before, but because Song Lingshan has replaced Yang Huaijin's position for a short time, he didn't pay much attention. However, this time the matter has become bigger, and it is not going to end well. He doesn't know how Brother Wen will treat him. Will he kill him? Thinking of this, the tattooed man was shocked. He understood Jianwen's ruthlessness. Although Jianwen looked very gentle, the tattooed man knew that he was definitely a ruthless person. In the past, Jianwen's brother had to spend money to buy a kidney, but Jianwen just robbed it. To deal with his love rival, he would just cut off a kidney. Such a cruel method was not something that ordinary people could do. So the tattooed man was shocked. Would Jianwen kill him to vent his anger? Jianwen was in a bad mood today. In order to please him, he wanted to get a beautiful girl for him to play with, but he didn't expect that his good intentions would lead to bad results. He brought the captain of the criminal investigation team here. Isn't this courting death? Thinking of this, the tattooed man asked carefully with some sadness, Brother Wen, I'm sorry, I'm in trouble. If something really happens, I will go out and take the blame. Chapter 644 Give them a warning. Jianwen waved his hand and smiled faintly. Catch her if you want, Brother Wen. Do you mean to keep to your previous statement and have a taste of her? The tattooed man was moved. He thought to himself, Brother Wen is really brave. He dares to touch the police woman? Of course not, Jianwen said, she knows me. I don't want to get killed. Besides, she is the woman Chen Yushin has his eyes on. How could I touch her? What about you, Brother Wen? The tattooed man was a little confused. Haven't the police been keeping a close eye on us for a while? That's great. Since they are keeping a close eye on us, let's teach them a lesson and let them know that some things are better to turn a blind eye. Jianwen sneered. What do you think the police would do if the criminal investigation team leader had a kidney removed? That would be so embarrassing. The tattooed man laughed. That's right, I just want to teach the police a lesson, or a warning, to let them know that they can't control everything. It's better to live in peace, otherwise the consequences will be very serious. Jianwen said, drug the dungeon and knock her out. Oh, the tattooed man was stunned. Knock her out. As far as I know, this Song Lingshan is a yellow level master, and none of us can be her opponent. Jianwen said, this girl must want to risk her life to get to the headquarters, so she has been hiding her strength. Then we will do as she wishes and let her hide until one of her kidneys is removed. Okay, I get it. The tattooed man nodded quickly after hearing this, thinking that Jianwen was really cruel. And he was willing to remove a kidney of such a beautiful woman. Moreover, the identity of this woman is not simple. Wait a minute. Tell everyone at our transit base on the outskirts of the city to evacuate. Starting tomorrow, we'll activate base 3. This base is abandoned, Jianwen stopped the tattooed man as he was about to leave. Song Lingshan should be carrying a transmitter. That base should have been exposed. Yes, the tattooed man agreed, turning to leave. Watching the tattooed man's retreating figure, Jianwen shook his head slightly. Brother Yushin, I'm so sorry. Who told you to be so troublesome with the woman you're interested in? If she had just gone back to the Chen family with you, how could she have lost a kidney? However, Song Lingshan was just a minor incident. He didn't take it seriously at all. Removing Song Lingshan's kidney would only lead to two consequences. The police would either stop investigating or become furious. But even if they became furious, what would that do? They still couldn't find their headquarters, and now Song Lingshan had reached the point of no return, so she took the risk of pretending to be captured and infiltrated the headquarters. And Xuanyuan didn't take it to heart at all. He was a ruthless man and didn't care about these things at all. What bothered Xuanyuan now was Lin Yi's affairs. And Xuanyuan was very annoyed. This kid Lin Yi actually stole things from his employer and had an affair with Chu Mengyao and Chen Yushu? And Xuanyuan didn't think that the relationship between Lin Yi and Chu Mengyao could be so pure. They even kissed, so what else couldn't they do? Chu Mengyao was his designated wife, and he would never allow Chu Mengyao and Lin Yi to be together. And Xuanyuan's feelings for Chu Mengyao came from the bottom of his heart and were almost perverted. This was a dream he had since he was a child, that is, to marry Chu Mengyao. And Xuanyuan had played with many women over the years, some beautiful, some foreign and some domestic, but he still couldn't forget Chu Mengyao. This was a paranoia in his character. Even if Chu Mengyao had something happen with Lin Yi, he would bring Chu Mengyao home, even if it meant just leaving her there and abusing her every day, he would take her for himself. Of course, if Chu Mengyao were still a virgin, and Xuanyuan would have forgiven her past. Lin Yi, how do you want to die? And Xuanyuan's lips curled into a sinister smile, the kind he always wore before committing a sinister act. Since you don't appreciate my kindness, don't blame me for being rude. Your kidney is mine, too. When Song Lingshan's transmitter signal disappeared, Liu Wangli and the others sensed something was amiss. Without hesitation, they immediately dispatched men to the location where Song Lingshan's transmitter signal had disappeared. It was a desolate rural area, with an abandoned factory not far from a deserted highway. However, after Liu Wangli and his men surrounded the factory, they found nothing. The factory was empty, but the occupants had clearly left in a hurry, and not long after. The light bulbs were still warm, proving they had been burning. Strewn on the ground were food waste, such as instant noodle bags, and some tattered rope. Clearly, the enemy was on guard. But precisely because of this, Liu Wangli became even more worried. This meant the other party must have discovered Song Lingshan's identity and fled in a panic. The signal transmitter on Song Lingshan must have been discovered and sabotaged. Thinking of this, Liu Wangli felt a surge of anxiety. After a moment's hesitation, he finally called the director in charge, Yang Huaijin. Director Yang, this is Liu Wangli from the criminal investigation team. Have you gotten some rest? It was already past midnight, and Liu Wangli was afraid Yang Huaijin had already gone to bed. Just now. What's up? Since taking the Chinese medicine Lin Yi had prepared for him, Yang Huaijin's injuries had significantly improved. He no longer felt any pain, and could sleep peacefully without painkillers. So, being woken by the phone call wasn't a problem for him. Director Yang, Captain Song seems to have been in trouble, Liu Wangli said cautiously. In trouble? What happened? Please tell me more. Upon hearing that Song Lingshan was in trouble, Yang Huaijin's sleepiness immediately vanished. He sat up and asked. The thing is, Captain Song has the location of the criminal group's activities, so, Liu Wangli told Yang Huaijin in detail about Song Lingshan's undercover work. Who asked her to go? Why didn't you ask for instructions beforehand? Yang Huaijin was really angry after hearing what Liu Wangli said. It was Captain Song who decided it. I thought she had already asked for instructions. Liu Wangli was sweating. He was the squadron leader. It was Song Lingshan who reported directly to Yang Huaijin after the matter was finalized. He couldn't report to higher level, right? Wait a minute, I'll go to the bureau now. Yang Huaijin was really helpless. He was really angry and worried. Song Lingshan was really showing off her personal heroism. Why did she go undercover? Did she think she was so powerful? Chapter 645 Please help. Yang Huaijin hung up the phone, washed his face, and quickly rushed to the police station. However, even if Yang Huaijin went there, it wouldn't have been much use. Even if he knew Song Lingshan had lost contact at the transfer station, it wouldn't have helped because the people there had already left, and the things they left behind didn't contain any valuable clues. The criminals were cunning and hadn't left any loopholes, so Song Lingshan had simply disappeared. Even though Yang Huaijin was anxious, there was nothing he could do. Now he could only wait for the criminals to negotiate with the police. They clearly knew Song Lingshan's identity, so their purpose in capturing her was obvious, either to demonstrate to the police or to use her as a threat to negotiate with the police to achieve their goals. Regardless, they had to wait for the criminals to contact the police first. That little Song is such a worry. Yang Huaijin sat in his office, rubbing his sleepy eyes. He felt a little tired after a sleepless night of meetings discussing the direction of the case. It's just much better than before. Lin Yi's medicine is still very effective. At least in the past, the consequence of staying up late like this was an illness, and the symptoms had to be suppressed with medicine. But now, apart from some fatigue, there is no discomfort. Of course, fatigue is a normal reaction. Healthy people will also feel uncomfortable after a night without rest. Lin Yi? Thinking of Lin Yi, Yang Huaijin suddenly wondered if Lin Yi had any way. If Song Lingshan could be found now, then perhaps only Lin Yi could do it? I just don't know if he would help. Yang Huaijin smiled bitterly. It seems that he still has to trouble Lin Yi. After hesitating for a while, Yang Huaijin still dialed Lin Yi's number. Xiao Yi. Yang Huaijin felt a little awkward every time he called Lin Yi like this. He still wanted to call Lin Yi Eagle or Captain. He was not used to the name Xiao Yi. Brother Jun, what's the matter? Lin Yi drove to the hospital to pick up Tang Yun first. Just as he was about to drive, he received a call from Yang Huaijin. Xiao Song must have been captured by the kidney-stealing gang. Yang Huaijin didn't exchange pleasantries and went straight to the reason for the call. Oh, for a girl like her who's so aggressive, it's normal for her to be captured. Lin Yi wasn't surprised at all. Instead, he thought it was a very normal thing. If he had known she was so aggressive, he wouldn't have called her yesterday to tip her off. She's a little aggressive, but young people are impulsive. Yang Huaijin smiled bitterly. Here's what happened. Yesterday, Xiao Song received a tip-off and learned the location of the criminals' activities, and then, oh, I know that. I was the one who told her about Pengzhan village. Lin Yi interrupted Yang Huaijin. Did she go there in person, try to go behind enemy lines, get captured, and then couldn't get out? You guess it all. Yang Huaijin was a little surprised. He didn't expect that Lin Yi had told Song Lingshan the news. It seemed that they were still in contact privately, and they seemed to have a good personal relationship. So, Lin Yi shouldn't ignore Song Lingshan, right? Simple logic. Lin Yi smiled. Given Song Lingshan's personality, it wasn't surprising she'd act this way. What do you want me for? Can you find her, or rescue her? Yang Huaijin and Lin Yi didn't need to exchange false pleasantries. Yang Huaijin spoke directly. I'll try. Lin Yi felt a headache. This Song Lingshan was truly a troublemaker. He'd have his hands full. Initially, Lin Yi didn't want to get involved, but since Yang Huaijin had spoken, there was no reason for him to refuse. Thank you, Eagle. Yang Huaijin breathed a sigh of relief. Lin Yi didn't promise easily, but once he did, he would certainly do his best to keep it. Oh, hang up first. Let me think about what to do, Lin Yi said, and ended the call without another word. The only way to find Song Lingshan now was to send Xuanyuan's help. It looked like he really had to go look for Xuanyuan again. Whether he performed kidney transplants or not was none of Lin Yi's business. Even if Lin Yi knew, he wouldn't stand up for what was right. But now the matter involved Song Lingshan, and Lin Yi had a slight dislike for Xuanyuan. He could tell the young lady was annoyed with him, so he'd just do it reluctantly and get rid of him while he was at it. What's wrong? Is everything okay? Tang Yun, who had overheard a bit but couldn't quite grasp the details, asked worriedly. Nothing. A friend went missing, and she asked me to help find her, Lin Yi said. Never mind her for now. Let me see the scar on your head, it's almost healed, Tang Yun said shyly, avoiding Lin Yi's gaze and lowering her head, not daring to look at him. Hell, not bad. No scars left, otherwise it would be ugly. Lin Yi was still very satisfied with his medicine. If scars did remain, would you still want me? Tang Yun longed to know the answer. Your worries are unnecessary. They can be removed, Lin Yi said. Oh, Tang Yun said, somewhat disappointed, not getting the answer she wanted. She didn't know why Lin Yi liked her, whether it was her looks or something else. This gave her a very uneasy feeling. But Lin Yi didn't quite understand the girl's thoughts and didn't notice Tang Yun's disappointment. By the way, how is the shanty town demolition going? Lin Yi asked. It's been put on hold for now. Liu Xinwen said there's no news, and many families are just waiting and watching. Tang Yun couldn't help but feel a little amused at this point. They all think the Kaibing building collapsed due to quality issues, so they won't even replace it now, even if they're offered a replacement. Oh, then forget about them for now. Lin Yi wasn't particularly interested in whether Zhao Kaibing was demolished or not, but he could certainly contact him when the demolition took place and ask for some compensation. Why don't you go to school with your employer? Tang Yun was still wary of Chu Mengyao and Shen Yushu. They have people to pick them up. Lin Yi shrugged. Oh, then how long do you have to do it? Tang Yun asked. I don't know. It depends on what my old man thinks. Lin Yi shook his head. You seem hostile to them. I'm not, Tang Yun denied. Arriving at school, Lin Yi and Tang Yun parted ways at the door of Class 9, Grade 3. Everyone in the school knew about their relationship, and Tang Yun no longer had to avoid it. Furthermore, the sudden arrival of Chu Mengyao and Shen Yushu made Tang Yun wary. Her instincts told her that things were definitely not as simple as Lin Yi had said. Although Lin Yi claimed they were his employers, their attitude that night was not what one would expect of a bodyguard or employee. Chapter 646 Tang Yun's sense of crisis. If Chu Mengyao didn't like Lin Yi, why would she tarnish her reputation? She was a lady from a wealthy family. After all, how could she not care? There was only one possibility. She truly loved Lin Yi, which was why she said those words. Especially the words Chu Mengyao whispered in Tang Yun's ear before leaving, which made her wary. She said she wanted to pursue Lin Yi. Tang Yun didn't know how to fight Chu Mengyao, nor did she know if she should fight at all. Everything depended on Lin Yi's attitude. If Lin Yi didn't like Chu Mengyao, then Tang Yun wouldn't be worried, of course. But Lin Yi's attitude seemed ambiguous. He probably had feelings for Chu Mengyao and Shen Yushu. This was the source of Tang Yun's crisis. Living under the same roof, they were bound to develop feelings. Now, all he could do was take things one step at a time. Lin Yi arrived at the classroom, glanced at his empty desk, and suddenly thought of Feng Xiaoxiao. It had been a while since he'd seen Feng Xiaoxiao. It had been so many days since he'd returned from Yanjing, and she hadn't returned. Was she still in Yanjing? Lin Yi wanted to send a text to say hello. After all, their relationship had eased somewhat, and it wasn't as tense as before. But thinking of Feng Xiaoxiao's tendency to take advantage of others, Lin Yi put his phone down again. Who knew if she would stir up trouble again if he contacted her? Lin Yi was just thinking about Feng Xiaoxiao when a text message from her arrived. Lin Yi, why haven't you contacted me in so long? Is it possible that I'm not even in your heart? Lin Yi looked at the message on his phone, feeling a bit amused and unsure how to respond. After thinking for a moment, he simply replied, I'm busy. When will you be back? Feng Xiaoxiao was currently sitting bored in her hospital bed. Feng Xianlong had already returned and was staying by her side. Xiaoxiao, you texted a friend. Feng Xianlong was surprised to see his daughter texting. He knew very well that his daughter had very few friends, almost none of whom she could even text. Besides erasing friends, she had no real close friends. Oh, it's Lin Yi. You've met him, Feng Xiaoxiao said without hiding anything. Lin Yi, Feng Xianlong's eyes gleamed. Are you and him doing well? Not bad. Feng Xiaoxiao looked at Lin Yi's evasive text, feeling a little annoyed. Busy? Busy with what? Busy dating Tang Yun or busy serving Chu Mengyao and Shen Yushu? Really not a boyfriend? Feng Xianlong suddenly asked. Ah, Feng Xiaoxiao was startled, her face flushing. Had her father noticed something? Her father had asked a similar question once before, and Feng Xiaoxiao had denied it. But why was he bringing it up again today? Suddenly, Feng Xiaoxiao remembered her own health and decided to go for it. Not yet, not yet. Feng Xianlong's heart suddenly struck. Are we dating? I'm pursuing him. Feng Xiaoxiao and her father had never had a harmonious relationship, and she had never been the good girl. Although she had never had a boyfriend, she was initially shy about the topic, but she gradually relaxed. Well, I wish you success then. Feng Xianlong had always hoped his daughter would find a boyfriend. Even if they didn't want to get married, at least have a child first. He didn't want to end up alone after losing his daughter. A grandchild would be a source of spiritual comfort. And Lin Yi was someone he was happy with. So he was even more in favor of Feng Xiaoxiao dating him. It's not like we can even talk about success. We haven't even started yet. Maybe I'll be dead before I even catch up. Pengzhan, who was open-minded about life and death, didn't care about the topic. We've wasted so many days this time. Why not do something else with that time? Coming to the hospital every day, the final results haven't been announced yet, have they? Maybe there's a way out. Feng Xianlong said this, feeling unsure. He had long expected the outcome to be similar to every other time, but without a definitive conclusion, he still held on to hope. How boring. Pengzhan collapsed on the bed and continued texting Lin Yi. Lin Yi texted Pengzhan a few times, then it was time for class. He closed his phone and put it on his desk. Pengzhan's texts went unanswered. Pengzhan was furious. Lin Yi, you're so good. You can't even bother texting me, Sister Yao. I observed that Arrow brother came with Tang Yun today. Chen Yushu once again displayed her spying skills. Oh, Chu Mengyao replied calmly. What does that have to do with us? Leave him alone, but aren't you going to pursue Arrow brother? We've already challenged Tang Yun. If we don't take action, Tang Yun might think we're scared and have given up, Chen Yushu provoked. Let her think whatever she wants. Chu Mengyao wasn't fooled. She knew all about Chen Yushu's tricks long ago, and only people like Zhong Pinliang and Xuanyuan would fall for them. Oh, Chen Yushu said, feeling a little discouraged. Seeing that Sister Yao remained indifferent no matter what she said, she gave up. Chu Mengyao had been paying attention in class, but Chen Yushu's words had thrown her off. Although she had declined Chen Yushu's suggestion, she couldn't calm down. She was dazed and confused until the end of get out of class, still staring intently at the textbook in front of her. Sister Yao? Chen Yushu waved her hand in front of her. What for? Chu Mengyao was startled, then snapped back to her senses and glared at Chen Yushu. Are you trying to scare me to death, Sister Yao? Are you having sexual thoughts? Chen Yushu looked at her curiously. What do you mean by sexual thoughts? What nonsense. Chu Mengyao's heart tightened, and she stared at Chen Yushu with a timid expression. They say on TV that women who often daydream are having sexual thoughts, just like you just did, Sister Yao, Chen Yushu said. You believe everything they say on TV? Why don't you believe infomercials? Chu Mengyao naturally wouldn't admit to having sexual thoughts, because she didn't think she would die from them. At most, she was just irritated by Lin Yi, who was trying to pick up girls while working. If he'd been flirting with Xiao Shu, that would have been forgivable, but he'd chosen Tang Yun instead. Chu Mengyao was furious every time she thought about it. Oh, then, Sister Yao, what were you doing just now? Chen Yushu nodded and asked again. Nothing. I was meditating. Is that okay? Chu Mengyao said, then turned away and ignored Chen Yushu. Chapter 647 Zhong Pinliang's mission. Zhong Pinliang has an important task today, which is to poison someone. Although this is against the law, Zhong Pinliang has no psychological burden at all. For him, the more damaging the thing is, the more refreshing it is to do it. He is happy to see some trouble in the school. Now that his uncle is no longer a shareholder of the school, it would be best if something happens in the school. His love for Chu Mengyao has turned into hatred, and the same is true for Lin Yi. With the existence of Xuanyuan, a ruthless rival, Zhong Pinliang dares not have any thoughts about Chu Mengyao anymore, but not pursuing Chu Mengyao does not mean that he does not hate Chu Mengyao. This time, he wants Chu Pengzhan to lose everything and let Chu Mengyao taste the feeling of going from a high-ranking little princess to a penniless Cinderella. Only after experiencing a major change can a person have a profound enlightenment. At this moment, Zhong Pinliang also completely understood that Chu Mengyao had been playing him before and had never liked him. Even if Chu Mengyao didn't do it herself, she tacitly allowed Chen Yushu to do it. These two girls, and Lin Yi, I will never let them go. And in Xuanyuan, when Zhang Neipao comes down the mountain, it will be your death anniversary. Zhong Pinliang's wounds have healed. Through the medicine king, Zhang Fabei asked for some Kang Shenye's golden medicine, so Zhong Pinliang no longer has any other discomfort except for the loss of a kidney. However, although he returned to school again, Zhong Pinliang found that his classmates looked at him a little strangely. He didn't know if it was because he was too sensitive or everyone was laughing at him for missing a kidney. In short, Zhong Pinliang was extremely unhappy. These humiliations will be washed away sooner or later. Zhong Pinliang at this moment was different from the one before. After this incident, he had matured and become more stable. He understood one thing: if he wanted revenge, he must possess absolute strength. Without absolute strength, he absolutely could not confront Lin Yi and the others head-on. Of course, this didn't mean he would let Lin Yi go, but rather that he could play dirty. He didn't believe that if he continued playing dirty, Lin Yi and Chu Pengzhan would suffer a mental breakdown. Before the last class of the morning, Zhong Pinliang and Gao Xiaofu skipped class together. Zhong Pinliang hadn't hidden this from Gao Xiaofu. As another of his confidants, Gao Xiaofu had also done many evil things together, so he wouldn't betray him. Brother Liang, when the time comes, we can just spread these things in the food bowls in the cafeteria, right? Gao Xiaofu asked, looking at the small bottles in his hand. Yes, I'll have 4 of you and you 3. We'll spread them separately so we don't attract attention, Zhong Pinliang nodded. But does this stuff really work, Brother Liang? Gao Xiaofu couldn't quite believe that the vials in his hand, originally harmless, had become a highly toxic mixture. Of course, you don't know. This poison was concocted by a legendary hermit master. It's called 7 Herbs Death Powder. It's colorless and odorless. A single herb wouldn't be toxic, but when all 7 are taken together, it becomes highly toxic. It's incredibly secretive and a must-have for murder and robbery, Zhong Pinliang said proudly. Damn, that's incredible. If the students who ate all 7 dishes simultaneously weren't dead, wouldn't they? Gao Xiaofu exclaimed. That's right. Even if the forensic doctor arrives, they won't be able to find anything. Testing a single dish will reveal no poison. Even if these students are sent to the hospital, there's no antidote. They'll just have to wait and die, Zhong Pinliang nodded. But, if the forensic doctor can't find anything, we won't be able to achieve our goal of harming Chu Pengzhan. By then, even the hospital has tested it and found that all the food is non-toxic. Then the students' poisoning has nothing to do with the school, right? Gao Xiaofu felt something was wrong, so he asked. Idiot. Don't you know what is the scariest thing in the world? Zhong Pinliang said with some disdain. The unknown. Only the unknown is the scariest. Why are people afraid of ghosts? Because ghosts are unknown things. No one has seen what they look like, so everyone is afraid of them. Similarly, even if the hospital finds out that the student was poisoned by eating poisoned food, how much impact will it have on Chu Pengzhan? He is also a victim, poisoned by someone. If he pays some money, the outside public opinion may say that he is a good man and a victim. But what if there is no poison in the food? Yes, Gao Xiaofu suddenly realized, there is no poison in the food, but the student is poisoned. This is even more terrifying. So, until this mystery is solved, which parent would dare send their child to school again? What if they were poisoned again? If all the parents gang up on us and transfer to other schools, Chu Pengzhan will be in big trouble, Zhong Pinliang said, and for those students who died from the poisoning, the hospital hasn't figured out the cause. Chu Pengzhan bears unshirkable responsibility, because the students were poisoned at school. Who else can the parents turn to if not Chu Pengzhan? He'll be the one to pay the price. Haha, that's true. It seems I'm not as thorough as you, Brother Liang, Gao Xiaofu sighed. Alright, let's go poison the kids. The cafeteria should have the food ready by now, Zhong Pinliang said proudly after hearing Gao Xiaofu's words. Before Jin Gubang's untimely departure, Zhong Pinliang was a regular at the cafeteria, often arriving early to eat. He often skipped classes, so he didn't have to wait until the last class to go to the cafeteria to eat. In addition, he was the nephew of the school director, so the cafeteria manager didn't dare to offend him. After all, Zhong Pinliang was spending money, so it would just be open to him earlier, and there would be no loss. As usual, Zhong Pinliang brought Gao Xiaofu to the door of the cafeteria. At this moment, the cafeteria had not yet opened. Zhong Pinliang knocked on the cafeteria door, and soon a waiter ran out of the cafeteria. Seeing that it was Zhong Pinliang, he quickly opened the cafeteria door and let Zhong Pinliang in. Although Jin Gubang had resigned, that was something only some senior people knew about. The cafeteria manager might not have received the news immediately, and the cafeteria staff naturally didn't know about it. They still thought that Zhong Pinliang had the background of the school director, so they naturally didn't dare to offend him. Mr. Zhong, you're here. I haven't been to the cafeteria for a while, the cafeteria waiter said somewhat flatteringly. These workers who were at the bottom of the school naturally wanted to curry favor with second-generation rich people like Zhong Pinliang, hoping that they would have the opportunity to promote themselves. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelis. There you'll find the original version of this story, and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 648, Poisoning in the Cafeteria. Seeing that these people seemed completely unaware of his uncle's resignation, Zhong Pinliang felt relieved. With a wave of his hand, he said, "I went out to eat for a while. Go ahead and take care of yourself. I'll go to the kitchen to see what's on for today." "Okay, young Master Zhong." The waiter nodded and went about his business, not paying any attention to Zhong Pinliang. This wasn't Zhong Pinliang's first time in the kitchen, after all. The cafeteria was still preparing to open, and the dishes hadn't even been brought in. They were all placed in the kitchen. Even when Zhong Pinliang was eating, he would still be choosing his dishes in the kitchen. Zhong Pinliang flung open the kitchen door and walked in with a swagger. Seeing only the chef in the kitchen, Zhong Pinliang breathed a sigh of relief. You know, a kitchen often has more than just the chef. There are also people like the cutters and the noodle makers. But since there might only be one dish left today, the others had gone out to help clear the tables and chairs for business. To save money, a high school cafeteria doesn't have many waiters, many are part-time. Zhong Pinliang casually asked the chef, who was preparing the last dish, "How are the dishes today? Are there any special dishes?" The chef turned around and saw it was Zhong Pinliang, so he didn't pay any attention. Although he was not very fond of this second-generation rich man who relied on his family's wealth, he still had to make a living on their land. Even if he had a skill and relied on his skills to make a living, what would it matter? They could easily fire him and hire another chef. So the chef said, "The only thing left is the pork ribs and potato stew. It will be out soon. The others are already prepared. Take a look." "Oh, then I'll try the pork ribs and potato stew first to see if it's good." Zhong Pinliang walked over to the chef, took a look at the pork ribs and potato stewed in the pot, and said, "Go find me a bowl and put a piece of pork ribs in it so I can taste it." "Okay, wait a minute." The chef had no choice but to go out to the back kitchen to get a bowl for Zhong Pinliang. The tableware was not kept in the kitchen, but in the disinfection room nearby. Zhong Pinliang waited for the chef to leave before quickly pulling a small bottle from his pocket, opening the lid and sprinkling the powdered poison into the pot of pork ribs and potatoes in front of him. Gao Xiaofu, meanwhile, was busy pouring poison into other dishes. Because the dishes were being sterilized, the chef had to close the sterilizer before removing them, which took some time. This gave Zhong Pinliang and Gao Xiaofu ample time to work. They poured all the poison into the serving bowls, but the chef still hadn't returned. The school's daily menu consisted of 6 dishes and 1 soup, just the right amount, enough to fill all 7 bottles. Missing one dish would have been difficult. In reality, few people could afford to order all 6 dishes and 1 soup at a meal, save for the wealthy. However, many close friends would gather in groups of 3 or 5, each purchasing 1 or 2 different dishes to complete the 6 dishes and 1 soup. This kind of sharing is quite common among students, greatly increasing the chances of poisoning. By the time the chef arrived with the dishes and chopsticks, Zhong Pinliang was already leisurely standing by the pot of pork ribs and potatoes. Seeing the chef return, he said impatiently, "Why are you taking so long? Hurry up, I can't wait." "The dishes and chopsticks are in the sterilizer, so it's not convenient to get them," the chef explained with a wry smile. "Mr. Zhong, would you like to try it now?" "Yes, hurry up." Zhong Pinliang nodded, pointing into the pot, and said, "This spare rib, this one, this fatty one." The chef quickly scooped out the spare rib that Zhong Pinliang had chosen and handed it over. Zhong Pinliang eagerly plucked the spare rib out and ate it, exclaiming, "Delicious. Give us 2 servings of this spare rib stew with potatoes, and 2 bowls of that egg soup too, 1 dish and 1 soup." The chef looked at Zhong Pinliang uncertainly. Why did Zhong Pinliang request 2 dishes this time? With Zhong Pinliang's personality, if not all of them, he would at least ask for 3 or 4. "I don't like anything else. Come on, give me more to eat," Zhong Pinliang said impatiently. Okay. The chef suddenly realized that Zhong Pinliang didn't like anything else. No wonder. He quickly made them 2 servings of pork ribs stewed with potatoes and 2 servings of egg soup, and then sent them to the table outside, while Zhong Pinliang and Gao Xiaofu took 2 steamed buns each and sat down. "Brother Liang, these dishes are poisoned. Can we still eat them? We won't die, will we?" Gao Xiaofu was a little scared and didn't dare to move his chopsticks. "Shit, if I could die, I would have died a long time ago. Didn't I just finish eating pork ribs?" Zhong Pinliang said with a pout. Oh, but isn't there also egg soup? We can't get poisoned if we eat the two together, right? Gao Xiaofu was still a little worried. You idiot! How could I eat this if I could be poisoned? Zhong Pinliang glared at him and said, the king of medicine said that taking these two herbs together is not only non-toxic, but can actually help nourish the kidneys and strengthen yang. I see. Gao Xiaofu nodded, but still a little hesitant to pick up his chopsticks. Eat quickly. We're here to poison you. If we don't eat something before we leave, we'll be suspected, Zhong Pinliang said, and began to eat heartily. Gao Xiaofu had no choice but to bite the bullet and eat heartily. But after a few bites, he found it quite delicious and felt no physical discomfort, so he ate heartily without worry. After they finished eating, Zhong Pinliang took Gao Xiaofu away. After all, they had just poisoned someone and shouldn't stay in the cafeteria for too long. Boss, what are you thinking about? After the last class of the morning, during lunch break, Kang Xiaobo turned around and saw Lin Yi frowning and pondering, and asked with some confusion. Now is the last semester of senior year, time is precious, Kang Xiaobo also has to study hard, so in the morning, except for greeting Lin Yi, he spent the rest of the time reading. Nothing, let's go eat. Lin Yi was thinking about how to find an excuse to get close to Xuanyuan and find out about Song Lingshan. Although Lin Yi promised Yang Huaijin to help, he didn't have a starting point. If it were in the past, Lin Yi would go directly to Xuanyuan's house and ask him for the person, and kill him directly if he didn't give it to him. But now, even if he kills him, he has to choose a secret opportunity and can't have anything to do with Song Lingshan's affairs. Let's go, Kang Xiaobo nodded. Have you called sister-in-law? Chapter 649, Dilemma. No, I'll call her, Lin Yi said as he and Kang Xiaobo walked out of the classroom. Just as he was about to make a call, he saw Liu Xinwen and Tang Yun walking out of Class 9, Grade 3. Lin Yi smiled slightly, put down the phone, and walked over with Kang Xiaobo. Let's go to the cafeteria together. Yes, Tang Yun smoothed her hair over her forehead and nodded slightly. The scar on her head was no longer visible, and there was no sign of injury at all. Lin Yi, I heard you broke Zhao Kaibing's leg. Liu Xinwen had a violent streak in her bones, and she was very impressed by Lin Yi's ability to break Zhao Kaibing's leg. When Zhao Kaibing went to the shanty town to show off, Liu Xinwen wanted to pick up a kitchen knife and fight him to death. But although she was violent, she was no fool. She knew Zhao Kaibing had expert bodyguards around him, and she couldn't do anything to him even if she went there. Tang Yun's face was disfigured, and Liu Xinwen was furious and worried. But when Lin Yi broke Zhao Kaibing's leg, she finally vented her anger. However, Lin Yi was injured that night, and Tang Yun and Chu Mengyao were arguing, leaving Liu Xinwen no chance to question Lin Yi. I broke it, and I hired someone to knock down his building, Lin Yi said calmly. In his opinion, this punishment was nothing, not killing Zhao Kaibing was already a bargain. Holy crap! You're amazing. The news said it collapsed due to poor quality. Liu Xinwen knew the Kaibing building had collapsed, but she hadn't known it was Lin Yi who toppled it, because the news said it collapsed on its own. Liu Xinwen was puzzled. Even if Zhao Kaibing, the developer, was incredibly unscrupulous and had built a shoddy project, he couldn't have built his own office building like that. How idiotic was that? Only now did Liu Xinwen realize the truth wasn't quite right, but it's even better this way. He won't be able to sell any of his houses. Kang Xiaobo, unaware of this, listened, bewildered, and peppered with questions. When he learned the full story, he wasn't overly surprised. Lin Yi was just like that, he'd just made a bigger fuss this time. The four of them were chatting as they headed towards the cafeteria when Liu Xinwen suddenly slowed down and whispered, Lin Yi, your eldest daughter's up ahead. Lin Yi had already spotted Chu Mengyao and Chen Yashu not far away, but he shrugged at Liu Xinwen's words. Xinwen, stop talking, Tang Yun tugged at her shirt, stopping her from continuing. She didn't want to dwell on Chu Mengyao, or else others would think she was afraid of her. While Liu Xinwen was discussing Chu Mengyao, Chen Yashu, up ahead, started talking about Tang Yun. Sister Yao, according to my latest investigation, Brother Arrow and Tang Yun are following us, Chen Yashu whispered to Chu Mengyao. Sister Yao, what should we do? What's your plan? Chu Mengyao asked, frowning. He's our henchman. We'll have him over for dinner later and have him protect us, Chen Yashu thought for a moment before saying. Chu Mengyao hesitated, neither agreeing nor disagreeing. She walked into the cafeteria and said, go order some more. Oh, Sister Yao, are you asking Brother Arrow to join us? Chen Yushu asked. Stop talking nonsense and go, Chu Mengyao said. Chen Yushu went to buy a plate of each dish and 3 bowls of egg drop soup, just enough for Lin Yi. Everyone in the school knew Chen Yushu, and since she was buying groceries, no one competed with her. So she quickly bought them and placed them on the table. Lin Yi, Tang Yun, and the others just happened to enter the cafeteria. Lin Yi, Chu Mengyao waited for Lin Yi to enter and called out, "Come here." Originally, Chu Mengyao had intended for Chen Yushu to call Lin Yi, but the sight of Tang Yun reminded her of what she had said that night, and a competitive spirit welled up in her. Lin Yi, surprised by the young lady's presence, looked at Tang Yun with a touch of apology. Tang Yun's expression was also sullen. She hadn't expected Chu Mengyao to call Lin Yi in front of the school. Furthermore, her condescending and overbearing tone made her feel a little uncomfortable. Even if Lin Yi offered you a job, he wouldn't have to shout at you like that, right? Although somewhat resigned, Lin Yi walked over. Tang Yun followed behind him, nervously grabbing Liu Xinwen's hand. Afraid Chu Mengyao might notice, she held her head high, refusing to show weakness. Sit down and eat with us, Chu Mengyao said, pointing to the seat next to Chen Yushu. Lin Yi smiled wryly. If he sat down, what would happen to Tang Yun? Tang Yun felt a little aggrieved and angry. She glared at Chu Mengyao, not understanding why she was so overbearing and had to go against her. It was obvious that Chu Mengyao was targeting her. Even if Lin Yi is your bodyguard, it's lunchtime now. He should have his own space, right? Liu Xinwen was also a little angry. She knew Lin Yi's identity. Tang Yun didn't refute her, but she had a hot temper. He has to protect us while we eat, Chu Mengyao said word by word. Yet, what if someone wants to assassinate us while we eat? What if someone poisons us? Chen Yushu was naturally always on the same side as Chu Mengyao. As soon as Chu Mengyao opened her mouth, she immediately rushed to the front. Tang Yun and Liu Xinwen were a little dumbfounded. How could someone assassinate them while they were eating in the school cafeteria? Although this reason was a little unbelievable, it did make sense. Tang Yun didn't say anything. She just bit her lip in grievance and looked at Lin Yi. But the more Tang Yun said nothing, the more Lin Yi couldn't bear to let Tang Yun go eat by herself. Before the young lady and Tang Yun met, they had always been at peace. Who knew that after they met, the young lady would go crazy and actually confront Tang Yun? Lin Yi was a little helpless, but there was nothing he could do. He didn't know how to choose. On one side was his employer, and on the other side was his girlfriend. He was really in a dilemma. The phone rang, and Lin Yi was relieved. He didn't know what to say at this time, and a phone call to help him out was a good turn of events. Looking at the caller ID, Lin Yi smiled slightly. He was just worrying about what reason to find Jianwen, but Jianwen actually called first. Hello, Lin Yi answered the phone tentatively. Jianwen was obviously angry when he left yesterday, so Lin Yi didn't know what attitude Jianwen would have when talking to him at this moment. Chapter 650 Is the wine okay? Brother Lin Yi, where are you? Jianwen's voice sounded normal, without any unpleasantness at all. However, precisely because of this, Lin Yi suddenly became alert. I'm at school, brother, and what's going on? Lin Yi sneered in his heart. This Jianwen might be causing trouble again. Haha, I drank too much last night. In the end, I didn't know anything. I lost my composure. Sorry, Jianwen said with a smile. Are you free? Let's go out for dinner, now, Lin Yi asked. Well, I'm at the gate of Songshan No. 1 middle school. How about you do me a favor? Jianwen asked with a smile. Okay, then wait for me. I'll be out now. If Lin Yi didn't have a grudge against Jianwen, he would probably have thanked him at this moment. His call actually saved Lin Yi and gave him an excuse to get out. After hanging up, Lin Yi said to Chu Mengyao and Tang Yun, I have something to go out for. Why don't you eat first? Oh, Brother Arrow, you didn't set your phone to alarm on purpose to avoid having dinner with us, Chen Yushu asked. Oh, it's Jianwen. Lin Yi was used to Chen Yushu. Chu Mengyao didn't say anything. Since Lin Yi was busy, she couldn't hold him back. She simply said, then be careful. Tang Yun breathed a sigh of relief. Since Lin Yi had to go out, he didn't have to make any choices. In fact, Tang Yun had been very nervous before. After all, Chu Mengyao was Lin Yi's employer. If she insisted that Lin Yi accompany them for dinner, Tang Yun would be angry, but she was not ignorant of the overall situation and would not force Lin Yi to stay. However, that would make Tang Yun feel a little uncomfortable, as if she had lost to Chu Mengyao. But now that Lin Yi was busy, this situation could be avoided. If you have something to do, go ahead. I'll eat by myself. Tang Yun smiled slightly, trying to make her smile brighter and prouder. Okay, let's call. Lin Yi nodded, turned around and quickly walked out of the cafeteria. You ordered so many dishes, it's a waste, right? Liu Xingwen glanced at the food on Chu Mengyao's table and said teasingly, no one is eating with you, it's a waste of food, can't we eat by ourselves? Chu Mengyao glanced at Chen Yushu and said, Zia Oshu, the two of us, eat all these dishes. Oh, but I don't dare eat too much, otherwise I'll die again. Chen Yushu remembered how she ate too much last time and felt a little scared. Then I'll eat. Chu Mengyao didn't want Liu Xinwen and Tang Yun to look down on her, so she picked up her chopsticks and started eating with big mouthfuls. Liu Xinwen pouted and pulled Tang Yun to go to another table with Kang Xiaobo. Kang Xiaobo was stunned, not coming to his senses until Liu Xinwen pulled him back. Surprised, he asked, boss and them. Kang Xiaobo didn't know about Lin Yi's relationship with Chu Mengyao and Chen Yushu. Liu Xinwen explained as they walked. The situation was complicated, not something that could be explained in a few words. Lin Yi left the school and saw Jianwen's car parked in front of the school gate. And Jianwen honked twice and stuck his head out. Brother Lin Yi, over here. Lin Yi got in the car, and Jianwen started the car. Sorry about yesterday. I drank too much and lost my composure. Want to have some food and chat, whatever. Lin Yi could already guess that Jianwen had no good intentions. Chen Yushu's words had nearly driven him crazy yesterday. From the faint hatred in Jianwen's eyes, Lin Yi knew that he had already considered him a rival in love. But Lin Yi didn't bother explaining. He had come to Jianwen to inquire about Song Lingshan's whereabouts. Jianwen nodded. It's just the two of us at the Starlight Hotel, so let's talk about our innermost thoughts. Along the way, Jianwen chatted with Lin Yi about family matters, without mentioning any key points. Lin Yi responded indifferently. The car stopped at the parking lot of the Starlight Hotel. The two of them got out of the car together and, under Jianwen's guidance, went to a private room that was a little smaller than the one yesterday. Obviously, the food was all ordered by Jianwen in advance. The drinks were already placed in the private room. Not long after the two of them sat down in the room, the dishes were served. Brother Lin Yi, I'll drink this glass first as a toast. It's a punishment for my misbehavior yesterday. Jianwen picked up the glass and drank it all. Lin Yi didn't raise his glass, but waited for Jianwen to finish his drink before asking, Brother Lin, why are you asking me out now? Is there something you need? Indeed, Brother Lin Yi, let's drink first, and talk about other things later. Jianwen said, picking up the bottle and pouring Lin Yi a glass of wine, then filling his own glass. Come, let's have a drink. Lin Yi nodded and took up his glass, but the jade pendant on his body immediately reacted, giving him a warning. Lin Yi sneered inwardly. Jianwen was indeed unwilling to give in and was tampering with him again. However, Lin Yi didn't say anything. He still raised his glass, took a sip of the wine, and then put it down, mentally formulating a countermeasure. Jianwen had placed a common drug in the glass. After drinking it, one would soon become drowsy and pass out. At the Zhuan level, Lin Yi hadn't yet reached the level of internal force to force out the poison. Without the aid of the silver needle, Lin Yi wouldn't be so foolish as to drink the drugged wine directly. This kind of drug is very common, and the antidote Lin Yi concocted himself can be used to deconstruct it. When carrying out missions in the African jungle, there are many poisonous plants and insects with hallucinogenic effects. Not having such drugs on hand is very dangerous. However, back in the city, this situation no longer exists, and Lin Yi did not bring the antidote with him. Now he regrets it. What's wrong, Brother Lin Yi, are you not giving me face? Jianwen saw that Lin Yi did not drink it all in one gulp, but put down the wine glass, and suddenly felt anxious. Brother Lin, I'm not sure. Is there anything wrong with this wine this time? Lin Yi asked, pretending to be worried. Huh? How could that be? Jianwen was shocked, but he waved his hand calmly and said, didn't I drink it too? It was all poured out of the same bottle. If there was a problem, wouldn't I be in trouble too? Besides, I sincerely want to ask Brother Lin Yi to come out and talk. How could I harm you? End of this chapter. Thank you very much for reaching the end. Don't forget to like, Looking for more exclusive content and immediate access? Subscribe to our Patreon. Remember, every like, subscription, or donation encourages us to continue. Thanks to everyone. See you in the next video.